Welcome to Bleach Boys. The season 3 finale of Bleach TYBW is here, which is very sad and happy at the same time. I believe you call that melancholy. It's a very melancholy moment. What's that novel that everybody reads in school about the dog and it has the word melancholy in it? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Leave it in the comments if somebody knows what book I'm calling about. But we got an incredible 2-part special here with Bleach TYBW with very a lot of anime only scenes. A lot of stuff that people have been requesting for a while got thrown into this. Arguably, maybe not the best adaptation of some of the scenes. I'll tell you guys when I get there. I got some beefs with some of the adaptations here. But all in all, I think an incredible finale. They have continued their streak of incredible fucking episodes. Insane. Like just through and through episode good. Nonstop. Like once they hit their pace, they kept it.
Cour 3 has been nothing but fantastic. Ups and downs, no, just like ups.
Yeah, I think they took a second to get their stride, but then they fucking nailed it, and they just zoomed through it. I think once we got the friend episode, you knew that it was like, okay, they're putting on a masterclass here. 39 was incredible as a penultimate episode, and then 40, even though we got 7 minutes of Askin talking shit / teaching us about the original Royal Guards, they still did a great job with the content that they had. And honestly, when they went from Yuha Baha straight into the ending, like it was part of the fucking show, I was like, oh my God.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's like, what did I just see here? I was like, okay.
So I'm going to say, at least for me, for the Pythes rating, this season eclipses Cour 1. It doesn't have anything close to the Yama fight, but I liked this season so much more. I'm down to rewatch the whole thing. Like, right, it's so good.
It sounds like fun. It's like watching a movie.
Yep.
It's very interesting to think about because I still to this day, I was a little bit memeing on the ending of this. If I was Murata, who is the director for this series, I would very easily have seen Cour 2, and obviously they had production issues, as we know, which is why we got the original Shinigami's Illustrated picture book, which was dog shit. And then we got the Quincy, whatever, the Quincy Dighton or something like that. We got that at the very end of this episode, which Askin, I love Askin. Hilarious, especially when he was clowning on all the Bambies.
Yep.
Hilarious. I would, if I was the director, I'd be like, guys, here's what we're going to do. Cour 2, they have production issues. We cannot tell people that. We're not going to tell people we have production issues, and that's why we did it. Instead, what we're going to do, we're going to do that same exact thing, make it a Quincy on Cour 3, and just act like we meant to do that from the beginning. And like we're just going to own it all the way through and through. And if anybody asks us any questions, we were always planning to do that. Like, you guys are welcome. We gave you an extra episode with about 17 minutes, and then we threw 7 minutes. It was almost a little bit like a spit in my mouth moment when Askin, at the very end, pulled up the timer on screen. He was like, well, I filled all the time they asked me to fill at the end. I was like, dude,
I was dying when I saw that. I was like, dude, they did such a good job with that.
Yeah, it was like, you fucking cunt, Askin.
And don't forget,
you made a fatal mistake. Yeah, so they did well with what they could do. Really, there was only so many options. I had my initial reaction of shock in that when they started to give us more information on the Royal Guards. I was like, oh my God, I'm shocked we're getting that. And then it wasn't anything super exciting. Their names were there, which was cool.
I like how he goes, they all died.
Yeah. Which R.I.P. to some people. We have a guy in our Discord. His name is Rez. I just beat his ass in Texas Hold'em the other day in Discord.
Damn.
Just shout out there. But he was telling a theory of how he believes the woman, I have already forgotten her name. I have it written down at the end of my notes here. She was an original host for Pernita. As described by Askin, they all got roasted by some Soul Reapers 1,000 years ago in the first invasion. Hate to see it.
I love his whole... Some Soul Reapers, doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all you need for an explanation of the lore is just to come on, hey, this happened. It's not important. Like somebody just has to say
forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was
Forget about it.
Easy. What would you guys rate both 39 and episode 40? What would you guys rate them out of 10?
I'm honestly going for 10.
So good.
On both.
Let me think.
I just stumbled, Jose, there.
I don't want to just glaze Bleach for the entirety of the series, but it's at least a 9. I had so much fun watching these. I also thought it was so funny how the last episode was just edging. We're edging the audience. We're setting stuff up, but you don't get to see it till Cour 4.
I'm gonna say 10 and 9.
That's fair. That's fair. Pyth, you go 9 across the board for both?
I'm going 9. I thought they were both fun.
Okay. I'd probably set on a 9 as well. I just wouldn't rank 1 to 10 because I still think Friend is the episode of the season. I just think that one to me is was really good.
It's so good.
And for an episode that doesn't have any of our main characters in it, I think they knocked that shit out of the park. I have some gripes, as I mentioned, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Are you guys ready to start with episode 39?
Before we start, I have been Googling in the background books about a dog with melancholy in the name, and we have one result. Melancholy is
because
dog.
of Winn-Dixie.
Yeah.
No. Because of Winn-Dixie.
Really? Is that what it's
because
called?
Winn-Dixie was a movie.
It's a book, Jose. Obviously, as someone that can't read, you saw the movie. But,
you told me that it had melancholy in the name.
No. It doesn't have melancholy in the name. There's a key point in the book where it's like a kid, I think, is the main character, and she is trying to figure out what the meaning of the word melancholy is. And she's like, what a weird word, this melancholy. And it's a very key point in the book, and it has to do with a dog. So because of Winn-Dixie, it just
That also,
all I needed was Pythie to be on the cusp of it, and boom, it flicked right into my head.
You took it away from him.
Took it away. Well, I had the wrong answer.
Yeah, that's fine. You still helped me. Sometimes I message Pythes on Instagram for title helps for the shorts, and sometimes I message Pythes like, hey, Pythes, here's what the description of the short is about. I need help with the title, because Pythes always roasts me on my titles.
Yeah, they sure do.
He constantly is roasting me. So is Retsum, because apparently a non-native English speaker thinks my English is horrible. So he's constantly getting at me for titlings, and sometimes I fix the title because, like, I send it out, it's got a spelling error, and I fix it. But because there's a bot in Discord that sends out the first draft, I get fucked.
Yeah,
it's just game over instantly. So sometimes I message Pythes, and just like what happened with because of Winn-Dixie, I'll send it to Pythes, and I really will not have a good title in mind. I'll have 0 titles in mind. Pythes will shoot me something. I'm like, I got a good one now. I got a good one now. And usually I send it back to Pythes like, hey, what about this one, Pythes? And then Pythes like, okay, that's good, but change it to this. And then we got a perfect one. But usually I got to shoot it to Pythes. Pythes gives me something. I'm like, oh, now I got one.
He's got to roast you first.
Well, I usually send him no title along with it. But sometimes I do have one in mind. And Pythes is pretty kind. I don't think you ever roast me.
No, I'm always like, oh, hey, I'm just happy to be involved.
Okay, let's do Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War episode 39. The episode starts, I know,
with me losing money. This episode starts with me losing a fucking... I would have bet my house that we were never going to see Ukitake again, at least not in this court, and he's shown like 3 times.
Yeah, wriggling and stuff.
I had to stop watching the episode to see if I clicked the wrong episode. I was so in denial.
There's another one that opens with Ukitake on there, right?
I was in denial that we're seeing Ukitake again. I was like, there's no fucking way. I tabbed out of my video player to see if I clicked the right title. And it was, it's Ukitake. Like, and he's there struggling against his black Mimihagi sludge. But very interesting as it goes in the sky, and it's like branching out and like all these different like limbs and stuff. It's almost like it's supporting the whole sky. Very interesting.
See, I took it as it was supporting like all 3 worlds.
I kind of took it as maybe Mimihagi as a whole is kind of like supporting all of the 13 court guard squads up there. You know, like he's kind of trying to reach out to everybody and help them out in his own way, like Ukitake would. Yeah. It could be that he's supporting the 3 worlds and holding them together so that way they don't collapse, because that is what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what they literally said. Mimihagi was like, hey, Mimihagi's holding the worlds together. But in the manga, he gets roasted, and then we never see him again. So this is a much better way to show that he's still struggling through and through. Pythes, I did give you a special shout-out when I was doing the reaction, that I think they are going to do this until we get the moment that you were asking for, Pythes, where they will have him die at the end. And I think we'll get a goodbye moment with him.
I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be so mad when that happens.
So, and especially because they keep showing that Ukitake is not alone, and they keep getting reactions of like Akon and everybody down in the research and development department. They're still hanging out down there.
I love how they're all doing their own thing, and in the background, someone's just wiggling around going,
dude, there was a fucking moment where Orihime is affected by the poison that Askin did, and she stops choking for a second to react to something else. And I was like, what did I just see there? I'm like, that was so insane. I was like, she had a moment. She's like, oh, wait a second, what's that? Then she goes back to choking.
Arm on her chest, and she then turns slightly.
Yep. I was like, all right, I guess that's just something that we're going to do. Right after we see the Ukitake scene, we cut over to Yhwach, who's just sitting in his throne all alone, covered still in the almighty sludge on his head, and kind of looks like he's maybe smiling a little bit, and then it goes straight to the opening.
By the way, he picks the most uncomfortable looking chairs to sleep in.
Right? I was looking at them like, dude, I don't think I could ever sleep in that thing.
Get a recliner.
Did you guys see that for the Japanese broadcast on TV, they had a special opening and a special ending? We didn't get it.
No, I didn't see that.
What I miss?
Special opening and special ending. The opening, from what I have heard, like recapped all of the events in I don't know if it's just part 3 or if it's Thousand Blower as a whole, but the events of part 3 in the style of the opening. Like it recapped everything that happened thus far in that cool black and white style. The ending had a bunch of new characters added into it. So like there's like Rukia, Yukio, Grimjo, Nell, all of those characters were added into it, and it was a little bit of a longer song that they got for it as well.
I'd like to see that.
I have also been told that it is being uploaded to YouTube, but not until 2 a.m. tonight, which would have been out by the time you're seeing this video. So they should have those out supposedly by the time this is out. So check it out. If it is, we will tweet it out or post it in Discord. So make sure you guys are, of course, in there. Link in the description down below.
Is this 2 a.m. Eastern or Pacific time?
Pacific time.
Okay, so fuck that. I'll watch it when I wake up.
Also, your not your Instagram, your Twitter. You know, what is it? The
At the Weebs Guild?
At the Weebs Guild?
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned the A6 collab
Yeah.
with Renji and Ichigo?
Did you buy them?
No. It looks so fucking cool. I saw it and I was like, God damn it.
It is with
I
great
did not
pleasure,
wake up.
everybody, that I've not announced this anywhere else, but I will announce this here. I purchased both of them. So,
I know you did. You purchased both the Puma ones, too.
Size 13, I was able to get in both of them. Now, my only concern with the A6 one, which I did some Googling after the fact that I bought them in classic Sam fashion, they tend to run a bit small.
Yeah.
So in my old age, has become more of a flat-footed Neanderthal. My feet are very wide. I'm like a giant walking around here. I typically do size 13, like if I'm going for like a Vans or something like that. If I do Doc Martens, I do a size 14 because my feet are so big.
Dude, they size up.
With A6, they said typically to go a half size bigger. So I'm very concerned that they're not going to fit my feet, which is okay. I guess I'm a hype beast and just collecting shoes at this point.
Yeah.
I got the Pumas. I'm now going for the A6 shoes.
This is what we're gonna do. We'll build up your wall over here and we'll put them in there.
Good, perfect. Yeah,
that'll be the new.
We just need a few more collabs with some Bleach shoes, and then I was just in a store the other day at a really fancy mall near us. I'll tell you afterwards. Don't dox us, Jose, please. A really fancy mall near us. And we went into one of those stores that sells like all the hype beast merch, like with all the jerseys and the shoes are all hanging on the wall. They have like Air Jordans and all this. And they had a section for A6. And so I was in there and one of my guys was like, hey, like, what kind of shoes you wear, Sam? What do you do? Skechers. He was like, you're joking. I'm like, no, like that. I told him I really wear Docs because I work most of the time. And so I'm wearing Doc Martens almost 100%. But I either have like some nice slip on like Adidas that I throw on. I tell him I really want these Skechers that are like, they fold into like an arrow and you step in them. And
I know which ones you're talking about.
I think they're for handicapped people. I would really like them though. I think that would be incredible. But I was just telling him, I was like, I did just buy some ASIC. And they had an ASIC section in the store. And so I was telling him, I did just buy some of these. He's like, oh, really? Like, which ones? I'm like, there's a Bleach collab.
That's right, baby.
He's like, oh, you're a son of a bitch. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. So now I have 4 pairs of shoes that I potentially cannot wear, but they are Bleach themed. So love that.
That's right. You like to collect all the random Bleach
Sam,
stuff.
directly behind your head is an almost empty shelf that would be great for display on the podcast.
I think when Cour 4 comes around, maybe we will. We'll rearrange everything. We'll get it going, make it look real nice and fancy because this stuff has been here forever. So I think it's time to change it around.
We could get like a fake fireplace right here.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Leveled up.
That would be nice.
Fake fireplace, and then you have effigies of characters you hate, and you just throw them in.
We print pictures. Oh, we print the death paintings. We throw them in the fire.
I can't do that, Sam. Yeah. I can't do it.
Well, good news. Nemu's already done, Jose. So we won't go back and redo them, but they're already in the fire. They're gone.
The new ones.
No, we permanently install a figure of Toshiro in there.
Melt, motherfucker.
Yeah. And Toshi's just burning, and it's like he's like the little devil in the shadow that you just see a little bit in there. After the opening, we see Uryu standing in front of the glowing red orb, the polymerization orb, as Pythes likes to call it.
Thank you. I literally wrote that down just in case you skipped it. It's like he's in front of the polymerization spell.
And Jugram is walking down a staircase and calls out to him, and he's like, you have a rather troubled look, Ishida Uryu. And Uryu is like, so do you, Jugram. And then we see him begin to emerge from the shadow, and Jugram is like, have you forgotten that when His Majesty is asleep, we swap powers? And then we see Jugram open his eyes, revealing that he has the 3 irises, and he says he's able to see the future, or he says being able to see the future is a very troubling thing, isn't it, Uryu Ishida? And Uryu is a little surprised here, and he's like, oh, did you see I became a traitor? I was like,
oh, he just tosses it out there. I was like, oh.
Okay. And Jugram also, I love, he's a sassy motherfucker because he's like, why would you say that? I haven't even said anything yet. And he's like, did you maybe feel compelled to reveal your true gender after realizing you can't hide it from His Majesty's power? And Udi's like, that's a false accusation. And Yugram's like, well, is it now? And then we cut back to outside of the stronghold, and then we see Shinji and Urahara's group doing their thing. But I love this whole communication between Uryu and Yugram. And Uryu knows that the Almighty's power is all seeing, and he is still just like, Yugram doesn't know shit.
He's like, prove it.
Yugram is so stupid. He doesn't know anything. He's like, and I think he's banking on is if I was a character from Uryu, it's basically like you're your dad's favorite kid, right? You know you're your dad's favorite kid. And then there's the kid that's not his favorite, right? He was the firstborn, but not the favorite. And he knows that all he's got to do is just play nice, and Yhwach himself will come and save Uryu. Like, no, he's my successor. He would never do that. And Yugram's like, fuck that bitch. Like, he's a traitor. And Yhwach's like, Uryu? No, like, he would never. I love this whole conversation, and Yugram is pissed. Like, he is mad.
The ultra side eyes. He's got three of them.
It's finally time to cash him in.
Does he have as many pupils for as many times he's given him the side eye?
He's got 6 of them.
Yeah, 6 of them.
Well, how many times he on the side eye? At least 3 times, right? So
At
maybe
least.
he's got 3 to each eye, good to go.
1 for each side.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because he's not admitting that he's a traitor, but both of them know that he's a traitor.
Yep. And it totally is like that scene where it's almost 2 lawyers going at it with each other.
Yes.
And they're like, well, I never said that. Why would you say that? Well, I think you're false accusations there. You don't have anything on me. It's baseless. And they're like, well, I never accused you of doing that. So what's the accusation? It's like, oh my God.
They're just going back and forth.
It's like, okay, cool.
Or he's that kid that got his hand stuck in the cookie jar. And it is in there as Yugen walks in. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was wiping some dust off the lid. You can't
Maybe
prove.
he was returning the cookie.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, like, he's got cookie crumbs on his lips. He's like, you can't prove shit.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. So outside with Shinji and Urahara's group, all of a sudden they hear like a boom and they see a smoke trail off in the distance, and something slams down right in front of them, revealing it to be Gerard.
Now, real quick, when that rock fell, I thought it smashed one of the characters, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, is this how they
like whiplash? Like, what happened to my character?
I was just like, whoa. Is this how they're getting rid of Soifon?
Yeah, that's it. They're writing her off right here.
No, Soifon gets a way funnier right off.
Yeah. So Urahara like sees him land, and just without missing a beat, just kind of looks over to where he left. Like, oh, he came from far away. And Gerard doesn't take any time. He's just like, well done, intruders. You've done a great job to get this far. And Shinji's like, we didn't come to you. You came flying to us. Gerard doesn't pay attention to anything that's being said here. And he's like, you guys will be going no further. Soifon yells at him to move out of the way. And just then, Zabimaru wraps around his arm, and we see Renji appears and brings us back into line with the manga continuity now, which is something that we had discussed for a very, very long time on who is going to take Renji's spot. And now we know it's Renji.
He came back.
To be expected, I guess.
At least it wasn't Soifon.
Yeah.
At least we got a great scene after that.
Oh, yeah. And Rukia comments first, like, you're live, Renji. And then we cut and we see exactly how he survived. And Uryu is walking away, having defeated Renji. And then we see it is Hiyori, Hachi, Lisa, and Love that stumble upon Renji. And Hachi comments that he's been shot through almost too clean, so he'll survive. And then Hiyori's like, okay, Hachi, get him up. And we see Hachi use his almost Orihime-like powers that we've seen before.
But I love how he created the cube and just...
Yeah, great. Love it. And I love that little sly comment from Hachi where it's like, that is the cleanest shot I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like, he will be fine. We still have no explanation as to what that white circle is, but I'm still going to go for he was perfectly targeting.
The way he wouldn't kill him.
Yeah.
Just confirming what we knew in our hearts already, but there's no way Uryu was shooting to kill.
Yeah, no. And then we go back to the present, and Rukia is a little shocked. He's like, you fought Ashida? And Shinji's like, okay, can we just leave this guy to you, Renji? And Renji's like, well, that was the plan from the start. Don't worry about it. And then we do get the manga scene as well, where Gerard extends his cape, is Shinji's attempting to run past him and stops him from going any further. And Gerard says, fighting me one-on-one, you could not beat me even with a miracle. Fight me all at once. And then we cut over to Askin hanging out, and he's sitting on a ledge. He's sighing, and he's like, man, as one battle ends, another begins. There is no end, huh? He's like, hey, why don't I tell you a little bit about the Royal Guards? And he says, Lige is the leader. He's the very first Quincy His Majesty gave a shrift to. However, Pernita and Gerard are the only 2 Quincy's His Majesty didn't grant powers to. Instead, they are the only 2 who were given a shrift according to the power they already possessed. Due to this, rumors went wild about the 2 of them, like how Pernita is the left arm of the Soul King and Gerard is the Soul King's heart. But it makes you wonder why there are rumors of Quincy's being related to the Soul King, right? Which Interesting.
Yeah,
we get the correction to the Lille Barro mistranslation or the wrong fact that was in the manga originally, which we get here, which is very good. I love the brief admission also where it's like, the only two that already had insane powers, Pernita and Gerard, both core pieces of the Soul King. Like, that is strong.
Why is Pernita like a weird hand that has to gain intelligence as the fight goes on, and Gerard is just a dude?
He's just a bro, dude.
Well, and Gerard is like this, like, he's got a lot of heart,
Yeah.
He's like this, like, lovable, like, like, welcome in, guys. Like, you guys did a great job giving this fight. And he says, like, constantly, like, you guys really did a lot of damage to me. And he's like, just this happy guy as he's fighting the whole time. I don't know. I don't know why Pernita got fucked over there.
I just want to say before I'm gonna talk shit about him later on. Gerard did nothing but make me smile the whole series of episodes, man.
Dude, I love him.
Yeah.
He's been so good.
He's joining the ranks of those weird characters I like for some reason, like Charlotte.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Gerard's just, it's hard to hate a character like Gerard because he's not mean. I don't know. He's
not being an asshole. He's just being himself, really.
And he's like this strong guy following orders, like, fight me. Like, how could you hate the guy who's just like, fight me? Like, come on,
like, all of you at once.
Yeah, and he's just happy to be here.
His entrance is he comes flying out of the sky, makes a giant crater, and says, "What's up, 1v1 me nerd."
Yeah. Someone who did not do well in their 1v1 is Ichigo, as we see him flattened on the ground, which is a very iconic manga panel scene that people have been speculating since season 3 started. Are we gonna get the manga the Ichigo carpet scene where he's just fucking dead ass on the ground?
It was me. I've been asking for that scene forever. I'm so happy.
And it delivered because he is fucking flattened on the floor. And like true homies, Orihime and Chad see this, and Chad wastes no time jumping in to help Ichigo. Just like full on, we're doing
in the air.
Yeah, flies in the air, goes to clobber Askin. Askin dodges Chad's Brase Derecho del Gigante as we see him land right in this kind of greenish purple pool on the ground, and then the two suddenly collapse to their knees and they become stuck in the ground. Ichigo did try to warn them as they were mid going, like, no. don't, like, go away, don't go. And it was too late. And Askin explains, saying, gift bad. Once you step into this pool, it may not be fatal, but I can lower your tolerance to whatever I designate. This time I chose reishi. You people are experiencing reishi poisoning due to the overly high concentration in the Wahrwelt. And then we get an explanation of his death-dealing power again and how he needs to ingest a lot of what he chooses, but he's actually full from the coffee he just had, so he wants them to stay here until he's ready to finish them off. I was like, dude, this fucking guy. Like,
imagine again, Sam, if you had that power.
I know.
And you went to lunch. You're like, I can't. I had too much.
But
food
also,
right now.
if you have that power, why are you drinking coffee? Askin.
He just loves it.
Yeah.
You know what? He could be like Josh.
As we'll see later at the end of credits, he's really, really serious about his coffee.
Yeah. So right after this explanation, we see Yoruichi is just hanging out behind him the whole time, and she's like, well, if they can't move, why don't you just strangle them to death? And Askin is offended by this question, like, how dare you ask me that? And he's like, are you serious? Bambi told me the same thing long ago, and even then it made me cringe hearing it. And then Askin turns to literally kick Yoruichi, and we get this beautiful out of nowhere. By the way, all of the shots for Yoruichi were incredible. I think here's how it goes for favorites in Puro films. Aizen, then Yoruichi's like right there. Whenever the two of them are on screen, the animation goes in fucking sane because Yoruichi had so many beautiful shots. These 2 episodes that she was on screen where Askin goes to kick her, Yoruichi flips through the air to dodge, and as she's doing that, the screen is rotating, tracking her. I'm like, holy shit! Like, that is the benefits of the way they're doing CG in the season, and it was amazing. It was such a good little scene. So Yoruichi lands, and Askin replies that strangling people isn't his style, and it's actually something more fit for women like you and Bambi. And Yoruichi is just like, oh. And then she starts to release her reishi, disintegrating all of her clothes, which once again, the camera is like coming super close, spinning all over her as the clothes is getting torn up, revealing her classic black outfit, which again, I cannot understand how beautiful that shot was. It was crazy. And Yoruichi goes, I don't know who this Bambi person is, but what you're saying is that this is how beautiful women fight, right? And Askin's like, well, yeah, you and Bambi are indeed beautiful, but a woman's worth is not in her face. It's if she is stylish or not. And then shoots 2 arrows right at Yoruichi. And again, we get a crazy scene. Like, someone on the team loves Yoruichi. I feel like they were like, okay, we need somebody to animate all the Yoruichi scenes. Someone was like, me, like, let me do it. And then they spent their whole fucking time animating these scenes because the 2 arrows are shot at her. She runs forward, spins in the air, grabs one of the arrows, throws it back at Askin, hits him in the shoulder, which launches him through a building as he's sliding back. He rips it from his chest while sliding backwards and throws it on the ground. Like, insane. Such a good scene.
Man, poor Askin.
Yeah. I do feel, you do think Askin's power where he still feels pain, that sucks. Like, that's not fun. I would not enjoy that.
No, I'm just going with the classic meme, and I need you to know that I wrote multiple times on my list for both episodes, Askin does not want to be here.
Yep. He's not happy about it. He even talks about later when he's like, man, I'm going to get scolded. He's like, this fucking sucks.
Can we talk about how, like, insane the sound effects for the lightning were?
Dude, they were so good.
Oh, well, that's the next scene where we see, I actually counted them, so Yoruichi wastes no time. He goes like, oh, you're an interesting guy, but unfortunately we're in a hurry. And she puts her hand up and she does 7 like lightning balls all around her. And we get 7 individual impact frames. Like, bow, bow. And it goes black and white. Looks amazing. And then she says, you will let us pass. And we see her Shunko Raishin Senke as she shoots lightning down on Askin, basically destroying fucking everything around her except for the small sliver that she's standing on. The sound effects, like you were saying, is so good.
They were crisp.
Oh, the crackling was like butter to my ears. It was so beautiful, which once again just leads to what I said. Somebody on the staff fucking loves Yoruichi.
Absolutely loves her. But I mean, it is an iconic scene for Bleach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Sam, I think you're wrong. I don't think there's one person that likes Yoruichi. I think it's the whole staff.
The whole staff is like, yes.
The whole team took a pause to animate all the Yoruichi stuff. They're like, we're all going to work on this together. It's going to be great.
I feel like somebody at the meeting raised their hand and said, sir, what if we put spice in the Yoruichi scene? And everybody said, yes. Also, here's a raise.
Someone just goes out there during a lightning storm and is just holding out one of the boom mics.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm willing to die for her.
Hopefully no employees were killed during the making of this scene.
Hopefully no employees were harmed during the making of the Yoruichi scenes.
So after these beautiful Yoruichi scenes, we cut over to Gerard, who has been slammed into the ground with blood running down his face, and Renji and Byakuya are standing above him and like, you idiot, do you not realize how many captains and lieutenants are around you? There was never a chance that you could win.
I wish that we would have gotten to see a little like combo attack between the two.
Yeah, that would have been a nice little addition, but I think they were already hauling ass through some of these scenes, so they stayed, which is that is very true to how it happened in the manga as well. We didn't really ever get to see that. We just cut back to him being defeated. Gerard's hand begins to twitch, and he starts giving what I would say is an iconic Gerard speech here, and he says, don't stand a chance. Is that what you think? Then that means if I can beat you guys, it would be a miracle. Do you know when miracles occur? If a miracle occurs in an ordinary moment, people wouldn't recognize that as a miracle. They'd say, oh, I lucked out. Strange things happen. They would simply think of it as that. 13 court guard squads. You did well to wound me to this point. A miracle is only a miracle if it happens in a moment of crisis. And I'm going to add this to the tally of reasons why I love Byakuya, as he just fucking roasts him with Senbon like, right, is he done? And even Renji is surprised, and Byakuya's just like, I'm finishing him off. Like, sorry, I'm going to do it. And we see Gerard's bloody-ass helmet flying into the air as Momo is, like, shocked that we're being so brutal to Gerard.
We went too far, didn't we?
And Shinji stops her, is like, dumbass, of course we did. He was talking like he had something to turn the tables on us, and then Byakuya slams him again with Senbon, and even Shinji gets like a little sweat down. He's like, okay, like that's a little crazy. We see a giant blood spread from Gerard as everybody tries to run past him now because like he's fucking dead. I love Byakuya so much.
So good.
He's
love him because it is really like if this guy's talking, I am going to perform miracles. You did well to get me to this point after they just beat my ass. You guys just wait and see. Like you just like take
nope,
his ass
don't want to deal with this guy.
Yeah, love it.
That double tap was perfect.
This is the equivalent of the shooting the gun scene in Indiana Jones. Of just, I'm not fucking with that.
Yeah. And Byakuya's like, I ain't got time for this bullshit. I was like, I've already seen some giant dinosaur had to fight in the sand. We're going to go ahead and just cut that. We're just going to get it done.
Don't forget, he had to fight the evil Fear Man.
True.
Got his Bankai stolen.
I don't want to know what you're doing. You need to go. It didn't work, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we get a quick cut over to Nanao, of all people. It looks like she was healing Shunsui, and she is also reacting to
We get a
what's
quick
going
cut to me losing more money.
on.
What was this bet?
I didn't think I'd see Shunsui till Core 4.
Yep. And I think we saw him twice.
Yeah, he did pop up twice.
Do not count on me to predict shit. I've been wrong so much this episode.
So just go the opposite.
And then we also see Yoruichi reacting to stuff. And then Orihime, who is still stuck, is about to get like a fucking piece of rubble dropped on her and is saved by Yoruichi's whip. And Yoruichi's like, hey, hurry up and heal everybody. You guys need to go to the castle, defeat Yhwach as soon as possible, or else the world's going to be fucked up. And then we cut to that said world of the living where we see the Soul Society is beginning to like flicker in the sky, like they're able to see it. And then we see Yuzu and Karin, where Karin is playing video games, having a fucking great time as they're shaking. Then we cut to
until
Weko.
her juice falls.
Well, that's because of fucking Yuzu did that. So fucking bitch. And then we cut over to Wekamundo in the ground, which I feel like is so unfair. You know, you're just like minor shocks in the world of the living. Wekamundo, the ground is literally cracking apart. And then we go to Yhwach as we see shadows beginning to kind of fill the rooms around him. And Ukitake's body is like pulsing, freaking out. And we see the branches of Mimihage we saw in the beginning start to fade and disappear. And Yhwach lets out a little smirk as he's sitting in his chair. And this leads us to the mid-episode eye catcher.
Gotta talk about that Karin and Yuzu scene.
All right, hit it.
That shit was supposed to happen like at the beginning of the season when Yhwach like stabs the Soul King.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's cool that they reinserted that scene then.
That was one of the things I just chalked up to them cutting for time, but they moved it all the way to the end.
Maybe that's a good sign, though, and it goes to show that you never know what scenes are officially cut until the series is done.
True.
It's
so
a really weird feeling.
Is that where we're going?
Yep.
It's not where I was going, Jose, but we'd like to take this moment to talk about Robert Akishron here. I actually wrote this down. We had a comment or a question from someone in our Discord. Her name was Mara Senade, and she had actually asked previously, and we skipped over the question. So we're going to do justice here. Pythes has already seen it. She is requesting on the next podcast, she would like us to explain why we all have a collective boner for Robert Akitron.
Why not? He was supposed to get Indiana Jones.
So Robert Akitron was this character from the OG manga series where he is a Sternritter. He is one of the older Sternritter, one of the more knowledgeable ones. He is a Yhwach dick writer, right? And he is someone that we never knew his shrift. We've never seen his shrift. We never saw his full standing in the original manga. We never knew anything about him, but he was this character that was kind of aware of the plan, right? He knew people were going to be picked to go up to the Royal Palace. I was going to say the Wahrwelt. It's both the same answer. They were going to be taken up with Yhwach. He knew he had to prove himself in combat to get chosen. He was a little bit more in the know. Kind of reminds me of the old man that we saw in the flashbacks. That was kind of Yhwach's last right-hand man as the original Royal Guards, right? Yeah. So he was for a long time this joke in the manga where it's like, we didn't even see what he did. He rolled up, he shot out Shunsui's eye, then he immediately gets Indiana Jones. He had like one of the most brutal deaths in the manga where literally he gets hit by the Ashwelin, half of his skin begins to melt and we get a skeletal one. Pythes and I have talked about it a lot. Like it's
Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
Yeah, it's an incredible scene. And we actually didn't mention it last episode in the friend episode, and I messaged you guys immediately. I was editing the podcast and I was kicking myself.
Right. We totally did.
During the exchange with Bambies and Jugram, where Baz brought up the Ashwelin and talking about how he's accusing Jugram that you knew this was going to happen. You knew that everybody was going to be affected by this. In the manga, they show a flashback to everybody being hit by the beams. And one of the biggest flashbacks there is Robert getting roasted by the beam, where we didn't get that last episode. It's just a myriad of it's like a small, you know, when a small pebble begins rolling down a hill and it slowly turns into like a fucking avalanche. Yeah. That is where we are at with Robert Akitron, where they have cut just enough scenes that Robert Akitron is still alive. Yeah, I have not seen him die. I have not seen his glasses laying around. The last we saw him, he was alive watching the rocket launch up into the sky. He is still alive. All right. Mark my words. Is RobertAkitronDead.com. Check it out.
This is true. So we're going to make a fan animation of, Ichigo and him fighting, or Aizen teaming up to fight Yhwach, but then it's going to be Robert at the end.
As we previously talked about with Pythes and his idea of Komamura and where they're going, maybe take that one further or take it a step back, Pythes. Instead of them going up to the Royal Palace, who comes down? Yhwach himself comes down. Who's still down there? Robert Akitron and Komamura. So there we go.
They team up to bite him and shoot him. Oh my God! It's the Goku and Piccolo scene with Raditz.
Oh yep, there you go. Where Lieutenant Iba is the one holding him like Goku, and Komamura is there also helping, just like biting at his leg. He can't really help that much, but he's there.
I mean, if we're talking stuff falling down, he could help shoot down some of the Lille Barro birds.
I have such a problem with this Lille Barro scene. I have such a big problem with it, but I don't want to talk about it until I get there.
All right, we'll get there.
I have a huge problem with how they adapted that scene.
We'll get there. But I want to give like a real answer to the Robert scene. He's a character that was kind of mysterious. He shot out Shunsui's eye, so everyone was expecting a whole lot of him. And then he didn't even get a fight in the manga, and then he just gets Indiana Jones and he's gone. But we got a bit more from him in the anime. He had that little short scene against Byakuya. You see him freaking out over not being chosen, and then you don't see his death. So it's just a meme that we're gonna keep alive. By the way, Sam did buy the domains for Robert Akutron.
Yes,
He's not dead.
did.
We have 3 domains.
Yes,
I don't even
did.
remember what the 3 are, but I now own 3 domains that have to do with Robert
Are they the
Akutron.
ones that you sent?
I sent an
Let me
Instagram
look it
chat of 3 domains that I bought after the last podcast. So we do own 3 domains that have to do with Robert Akutron now. I want to just keep it as simple as this as well. That whenever there is an anime, a show, or anything like that, where it's focused around swords, right? Everybody's using swords, everybody's doing that thing. The gun characters are always fucking cool. As simple as that. Robert Akutron is no exception. Stark is no exception. They're cool.
Lille Barro is cool.
Yeah, Lille Barro is cool as well.
And also, once again, it's continuing the funny joke of Shunsui has to fight the gun guy.
Yep. 3 for 3. So for the mid-episode eye catchers, we got 1 for Gerard Valkyrie, which is, no biggie. Also, no translations here. And then we get one, which I thought was a fucking spoiler for Yushiro. So I can only imagine who's going to show up right after the eye catcher, which I guess is cool. But I will give them credit. They didn't use any new images of Yushiro. They used the old one when he showed up carrying the thing for Urahara. So, okay, I will give them half credit there.
I'm going to give not the anime credit. I'm going to decredit myself. It's been so long, I don't remember what the thing he gives to Kisuke is, so I'm excited to find out.
It's the canoe.
We're in it for the ride, baby. Who knows?
I remember, it's been a while.
After this, we cut, and we get a quick little flashback still. Soul Society, Wakamundo, Real World. They just show that they're all still shaking. And Ichigo is now up and ready behind Yoruichi. And he says, Yoruichi-san. And Yoruichi's like, damn, you heal fast. But she's like, go on ahead. I'll take care of this guy. Ichigo's like, okay, be careful. Like, he has full trust in Yoruichi. And Yoruichi gives the Gojo response with, who do you think you're talking to? As if I'd lose. Like, oh, man, I hope she doesn't there.
Yep.
Okay. And Askin reappears. And this is where he gives his moment. Man, I let them through. I'm going to get chewed out for that. And Yoruichi's like, hey, don't worry about it. It's like, we're going to take down you and Yhwach, so you won't get chewed out. It's all good. And Askin is like, what's that rising whatchamacallit that you just used? And then we hear someone scream from off screen that it's Raijin Senkei. And we see Yushiro appears and tells Askin that if he's going to insult his sister, he's going to have to deal with him.
Yep.
And Yoruichi is immediately mad. And it's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I'm here to help you. Like, it's great. Don't worry about it. And Yoruichi is like, oh, you're here to help me, huh? And Yushiro is like, I am. I'm here to help you. It's great. And she's like, oh, well, you must have gotten way stronger from when I last saw you. And he starts like almost crying.
He starts crying.
He's like, I did. I'm so happy you noticed.
That's a little
and
brother.
Yoruichi has to take a moment like, that's right. He's too naive. He doesn't understand sarcasm.
Dude, Yushiro must be really short. Yoruichi's not that tall.
Yeah. Well, Yushiro's like a kid.
How old is he?
Well, Jose, don't even bring up the age in Soul Society. We
so
have no
mind.
idea.
I forget.
Could be fucking thousands of years and still look like a kid. We have no idea.
I'm going to guess he's like World of the Living equivalent to like 13.
There you go. I would say that's fair.
Is that
Maybe
older
that's how
than
we'll start doing
Hitsugaya?
it. We'll do World of the Living equivalent.
There we go.
It just has to be that. In the Soul Society, question mark. I would agree with 13.
Because like, hey man, how old are Basby and Yugram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who fucking knows?
What the fuck do you mean there? He's like 1,000 years old. This is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to point out, in the manga, Ichigo is still there to see Yushiro.
Oh, okay. That is
Oh.
interesting. So a lot of the scenes in this episode are from the manga. Like they mostly have done additions, not so much many changes to manga content. They have kept it pretty pure to any scenes that are in the manga were adapted here, and they have done new additions to it. So it is interesting to see like little things where they have removed some characters from the scenes.
So do you remember you were complaining earlier where they cut that scene of Ichigo imagining what Yoruichi's brother looks like?
Oh yeah.
So I think it is funny that now in the anime, Ichigo still does not know what Yoruichi's brother looks like.
We'll never know. Maybe that'll be a nice scene we'll get at the end where he'll finally see Yushiro.
he's
Like, oh, okay, cool.
Now we get do the scene that made me laugh out loud.
So Askin pulls his bow back, and he's like, all right, enough of the sob story. So you're going to fight me, young lady? And Yushiro turns around like, I'm a man. And Askin's like, oh, then being a gentleman. He's like, oh, is that right? My bad. And just in mid-sentence, he gets fucking jumped by Yushiro, just hitting him. It reminded me very much of when Yamamoto just took the beat down to Wanderweiss. It's like, that's kind of what I got from that. And Askin gets flung back, and he gets up, is bleeding from his face, and he's like, wait, holy cow, you're super strong.
I wasn't expecting you to be strong.
Yeah, such a good scene. I love Askin. He's so good.
The first punch in the face had me rolling on the floor, dude, because it was just out of nowhere, comedy timing, just smack, and he's like, oh god, what have I got myself into?
Yeah. And Yushiro responds back, he's like, of course I am. And he says, I am Yushiro Sakimune Shihoen, the 23rd head of the Shihoen clan. There's no way I'd lose to a Quincy like you. And then he does Shunko, Baku, and Muso as we see a huge fucking explosion happen. And I love this scene of Chad, Orihime, and Ichigo running from it, and it is like a fucking nuke. His off in the background,
massive.
Like, and we see it, just the shadows covering all of them, and just the lights going over. I'm like, okay, all right, this is great. They did a good job showing the scale of that.
I just want to say it is such a good thing that all these fights are happening up in the Royal Palace, not down in Soul Society, with how much collateral is going on.
True.
It's insane.
Or Karakura Town, where they had to replace the whole city because they knew it was going to be such a shit show.
I mean, we'll get to it, but do you remember what Ichigo did?
Very true. Another good point for why it's not taking place in Soul. He would have cut the Hogyoku Hill in half.
he did but I mean, our boy Chad don't give a fuck. It just punched
he doesn't give a shit
into a building.
I mean, imagine the Shunsui fight taking place in the Seirete.
Or Yoruichi doing her move where she just destroyed everything around her.
That whole area.
Or Yushiro making the nuke. Like, thank God we're up in space where nothing's happening.
I think they did. I want to give credit to them. I think these two episodes are probably the best adaptation I have seen, where they were talking about how they're going to jump from fight to fight to fight. I really felt it flow in these episodes much more than the other ones. I feel like the bouncing back and forth of like Mayuri to Shunsui, it was good. I think the way they have done it here, where I really feel like we're in a war. I feel like we're really jumping from like, this happens here with Gerard. This happens here with Askin. Now we're going back to Yugram vs. Uryu. I'm like, this is crazy.
I liked it. And now we get to another character.
And we cut over to Renji, and we see a giant foot land down, and Renji is just like, a foot? Fucking Renji, dude.
It's the Soul King's legs.
And we see Gerard is back and now super giant, and we cut to the best scene of the episode. The best scene of the episode. Better than the Yoruichi scenes. We see Rengiku. Nobody gives a fuck about Rengiku.
Who cares?
Hanataro makes his loving return to the series as he is running with Rengiku. I'm going to headcanon, because I'm going to give Rengiku props here, that Rengiku went to retrieve Hanataro. I'm going to assume that Ikaku and Yumachika were like, hey, Hanataro was with us somewhere. Rengiku went to go get Hanataro, because later on we see that Rengiku is with Hitsugaya. So I'm going to assume she went to go get him and bring him somewhere. That's what I'm going to say that as. But my man. And Hanataro's like, oh my God, a monster. And it's like, yeah, but Rengiku is side-eyeing the fuck out of Gerard.
I got 2 points.
Sure.
Number one, lost more money. Didn't assume we'd see Hanataro at all for the rest of this series. And number two, I don't think that happened at all. I think they literally tripped over Hanataro on the way, and they went, "Oh, hey, you're here. All right, come with us."
Oh, it would have been hilarious if it's like in a shady part, so you can't really tell what it is.
Yeah.
And Ragiku's just running full speed, so she kicks it, and then you just hear, "Oh!"
Then you're like, "Oh, okay."
Or Hanataro starts freaking out because he thinks it's a vein that finally touches him. He's like, "I'm dead!" Like, it's game over.
I just picture them picking him up and then just being like, let's go.
So I also have two very interesting points to point out with that one. Is Rengiku, also having a part of the Soul King within her, is side-eyeing Gerard really hard. So maybe Rengiku sees that and is like that kind of seems like something that I recognize as well. Like, that's very interesting. They really made an emphasis, like they showed her do it with Hanataro, and then she got her own scene where they like zoom in on her, like just dogging Gerard.
Well, maybe she's just a fan of Thor.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
she's like, I've read those comic books.
Now, question for you guys. All right. Hanataro, we know what his Shikai ability does. He can take wounds and he can turn them into a giant red laser beam that he can shoot. It was able to destroy Menos Grande before, so just mark that on your calendar. if he hit Gerard in his godly form, he has accumulated a lot of wounds. Would he be able to absorb said wounds and make Gerard back into a tiny version of himself, thus then shooting him with the red laser and instantly disintegrating him?
It depends on if the wounds stay. Like, does Gerard completely heal from the wounds, or does it?
Well, he says, we get the explanation coming up right here, but he says that he converts the wounds into a godly size. So does he still hold the wound, the wound attribute type in him somewhere where Hinataro can take that? I would say probably not, but in my head, I would like to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to say yes, but the answer is no.
It would be fantastic. You just picture them launching him and Gerard just being Gerard, being like, "Do it. It's not gonna hurt," and then shrinks him down.
Well, the unlikely counter would come up again, where same thing with Lille Barro. It was the now. That was the perfect counter. Who's gonna counter Gerard? Our boy Hinataro.
Oh, I could just picture him cowering in fear and about to be stepped on, and then having his Zanpakuto sticking straight up.
Oh yeah,
like
totally. That's a great idea.
Cue the 8-page paragraph telling me that I'm wrong.
So right after this, we cut back to Gerard, and he gets a little bit of an explanation here. He says, "My shrift is M, the miracle. My ability is to convert my wounds into a godly size. I'll say it once more. You did well to inflict these wounds." As he walks towards a fucking tower and rips the top of it off with the point, and says, "I've never been this big before because of the conversion," and then throws the tip of the tower at the squad, and Momo gets flung away as Shinji jumps and grabs her, but just as Shinji grabs her, Gerard is above him already and slams down on Shinji. But we see, which is a very big difference from the manga here. In the manga, that was the rip Shinji goodbye.
They're gone.
See it. Shinji and Momo escape from the smoke in the anime, and Shinji says, "Do it, Momo," as we see Momo create her yellow webbing, and I believe she used this before in the Caur town.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Yeah, they used it when they were fighting Ion.
There you go. That's exactly what I was thinking. So she does that, and Shinji and Momo land on it, and Momo stabs her sword into it, saying, "Snap, Tobuyumi," and launches the two of them into the air like a fucking trampoline out of hell. And Shinji does a chantless Hado number 91, Shinju Koten, I'm going to try and pronounce this in horrible fashion, Shinju Koten Taijo, as he launches a bunch of bullets at Gerard's face, like light bullets, and Gerard reels back, like he's like, "Oh my god, that hurt."
It hurts.
And then as Gerard is mid-reeling from that one, Momo shoots a fucking explosion right into his mouth, and that would hurt so ungodly bad. I would be so mad if I was Gerard.
Just an explosion in your mouth.
Yeah, and they end up landing, and even Shinji is like, "That probably hurt like hell."
Yeah.
And Gerard wastes no time though, swings his arm and fucking bats them off the ledge that they landed on. But what a combo! What a great addition!
See a nice combo. We don't get to see like perfect combos like that.
And it's nice that they gave Momo a time to shine because she really hasn't gotten too many this far. Mm-hmm. So I think it's great that they did that. I love the combo, and this actually goes back to, I think I wrote this down here. Let me see if I have it.
She's known as the PTSD character.
Well, so in a Club Outside question, I think it's relatively new. They were talking about how Squad 5 is actually known for the squad where you want to be if you want to get good at like Kido and Hado and stuff like that. Please tell me if you read this one. I'm going to spew it. It might be fact, it might not be. Sorry, everybody. Kubo said that actually Squad 5 has a room where you can go and rest, and it kind of helps with your regeneration from doing a lot of Hado and stuff like that. And so that's why someone like Aizen was in that squad as well, and that's why he's
fantastic,
super strong with it.
I mean, I didn't read that, but that makes sense considering all the stuff that Aizen was doing, that Shinji... Remember, in the Turn Back the Pendulum, Shinji just casually peels back an illusion that the fake Aizen had. And they always talk about, I think even back in Soul Society, how Momo is a Kido master. So it just makes sense.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure that's a Club Outside question where it was revealed that is actually a squad. So I'm glad that they put some respect onto Shinji's name, as he is also very good with all things Kido and Hado.
A Hado that he used.
And to hit a level 90 is impressive. Like, it's no short feat.
He's not Aizen, but, he's still pretty cool.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's kind of him.
Boy, do I hope that bitch that called his hair bad is dead. Still mad.
So right after Shinji and Momo get batted away, Byakuya also shoots a Senbonzaku at him, but Gerard just blocks it with his palm and readies his shield, and then we see Soifan. Soifan's there, lands beside Byakuya, Bankai ready. For someone, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it loud, I'm going to say it proud. As a Soifan hater, I love that she is so ready to use her Bankai constantly now in this core as someone who has hated her Bankai. And I'd say that as Soifan hated her Bankai. I'm glad she is full on wielding it this time, but she is instantly smacked away with the shield before she
didn't
even
even get
anything.
to launch it.
Dude,
Poor Soifan.
That was my second laugh out loud moment of the episode.
Well, Bankai already gets smacked.
You think about the scenes we've got for this one. Bankai got roasted by the Soul King little black orbs. Yeah. Bankai gets batted away with a shield as well. Poor Soifan, man.
I think you're right. I wasn't really thinking about it, but her willingness to use a Bankai she does not like is commendable. But I will say the one time we saw her use it was she had to get the fuck away from Baragon and wrap herself around a building to get ready to fire it at range, and every time she's tried to use it up close, she has failed.
I wonder if there's some sort of a world where she could use that Bankai for some maneuverability. Let's say she was up close and they really need to get out of there. If she shot it to get herself away from it.
Just launched herself back up.
Depends on if she's fast enough to outrun the explosion.
That's true.
Okay, all right. After that, we get our next contenders in the mission to defeat Gerard, as we see Renji and Rukia are like, well, fuck, our turn. I guess we're going to give it a shot. But Gerard just breathes in and breathes out as he blows everything fucking away.
Superman breath.
And Gerard is laughing and very proud of himself. He's like, powerless. Is it frightening to be powerless? But do not lament. All the lament in the world will not bring a miracle. And then we cut to this, I thought it was very gnarly image of Askin burning alive. And
yeah, he's just standing there.
Yeah. Yoruichi and Yushiro are just kind of staring at it. And Yoruichi takes a moment, like, oh, good grief. You stole my thunder with those antics.
LOL.
And Yushiro apologizes because once again, he doesn't understand any sort of sarcasm. And Yoruichi's, well, mastering the Shunko to that extent after I just taught it to you is worthy of praise. And Askin interrupts again. He's like, no, wait a damn second. He just learned it. Is that powerful? And Yoruichi and Yushiro, of course, are shocked by this. And Askin's like, what's with the shock? I told you. By taking in large amounts of what I designate, I can control the lethal dose. Thank you for nearly killing me with all the spiritual pressure you pumped into me. I can no longer be killed by your spiritual pressure. As we see all of the burn marks begin to heal on Askin. And Yoruichi is like, are your wounds healing? And Askin's like, well, yeah. An increased lethal dose means I have developed immunity. You don't have time to be surprised. If you don't hurt, you won't even be able to scratch me, let alone kill me. And Yushiro takes that to heart. He's the first one to runs in. And he does Shunko again, ready to attack him. Hits him right in the stomach, and it dissipates. It does nothing. And Askin is like, you don't get it, do you? I already got struck by your attack, as we see 3 arrows land down from the fucking sky right into Yushiro's back, and we see it went all the way through his chest as he begins to cough up blood. And Askin is like, it's too late. It took you, or actually, Askin walks away, says, I'm already immune to that attack. As Yoruichi runs to Yushiro's side and sees that poor Yushiro is not looking too good.
Ain't looking good.
And Askin says, it's too late. It took longer than I expected for you guys to get my ability. You made a fatal mistake, Yoruichi Shihonen. And then we cut to Yugram and Uryu, where Yugram says, spoken like someone who can't see how the scales are tipping. It says, the time has come to expose what is true and what is not, if you are here as His Majesty's successor. As Yugram then unsheathes his sword, saying, then prove yourself that you are not a traitor. And Uryu gets fucking smashed through a wall. As Uryu is still trying to play this game, he's like, Hashwalls, wait! And just then, Uryu looks to the side and sees Ichigo standing right there next to him.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Ichigo says Ashita, Uryu says Kurosaki, and then we get the title for episode Bleach number 39, The Visible Answer, and we go into the end credits, which I really love where that ended. I thought that was a great ending spot.
Such a good ending.
And I love the look on both Ichigo and Ashita's eyes, where they both were so unexpected to see the other person. Like, Isha?
Why you
Kurosaki?
here?
I was like, oh shit.
Just imagine you're running up this place, and then all of a sudden the wall breaks and your homie's over there, and you're like,
yeah,
what up, dude?
Yugram 100% smacked Uryu through that wall just so he could get him to talk to Ichigo, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yugram is playing games the whole time. And I mean, he says that constantly, where Uryu, in the next episode, thinks he too is playing games. But Yugram's like, dog, I've seen that already. Like, I just told you I've seen it.
Is Yugram having the best time of his life right now?
I think so.
Oh, he's having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, at this point in the manga, Toshiro is already fighting.
Well, yes, because they have moved scenes from the anime or from the manga around, but Toshiro doesn't show up until after the Visoreds that we know of in the manga do their attack. So yes and no.
Yes, oh man, I think this new order is really good.
Yeah, that's what I was
good.
saying. With the way that they're swapping around the things that they're doing, and they're jumping from fight to fight to fight to fight, I really feel like we're in a war. I really feel like there's so much stuff going on.
It fluid.
And all of it is so equally impactful, which I think is really making the difference here.
This episode went by in a flash, man.
So let's finish it with the after credit scene, which was also incredible. We are in a graveyard and we see none other than Ryukin staring at a grave as Ishin appears and says, "I knew I'd find you here." And Ryukin is like, "Dude, what do you want? Like, what? Like, why are you here?" And he's like, "Oh, I just thought it was probably time. You're going, right?" And Ryukin just scoffs. And then we go to the poem. And it's a poem from Uryu. He says, "If my words had a form, they wouldn't reach you standing in the dark." And we get the title for the last episode, Bleach TYBW, episode 40, My Last Words.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I love the scenes that we're getting of the dads. I love the scenes that we keep cutting back to the Ashwelin, which we get more of in the next episode. We'll talk more when we get there. They cut out a scene from the manga that I fucking loved, and I'm really upset that they cut it out. Now, they could come back to this moment. I truly believe that they could adapt this later. But when Jugram and Uryu are talking in the manga, Jugram brings out these like little squares. I think he refers to them as chips.
Oh, that weird shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Uryu has been going around the Wahrwelt and placing these chips everywhere, and that's part of the reason why that he snuck out. He was placing these chips all around, and Jugram is like, "Hey, dog, I took all these. I found all these that you were all over the castle, all over the Wahrwelt. I got them. I know what you're up to." And Uryu is still like, "Por qué? Like me? Like I would never." And Jugram full on is like, "These things have a mechanism in the chips that break down and diffuse reishi, a mechanism very similar to the one used for Leiden Haunt that Soken Ishida made off with." And Uryu is like, "That's a baseless accusation." And he's like, "I've never seen those before in my life," which is fucking hilarious. But in the manga, we even see a moment of like Soken Ishida, and we see the original arm thing that he snapped against Mayuri and all of that technology that was used for it. And Jugram is like, "Dude, your grandpa stole almost his identical chip, and now you're telling me that I have hundreds of them around my castle, and that wasn't you." And Udyu's like, "No."
Like, I couldn't be me, dude.
That could be anybody. Like, I don't know.
He's the cool guy meme. He's just like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm setting up all these things, but I'm just a cool dude.
And it really would have, that scene would have also worked really well with the scene that we get in episode 40 with Ryukin and Ishin actually showing up, where Ryukin makes a comment like, "Oh, for once I'm happy that my grandpa or my father has sticky fingers."
Yeah.
That would have played really well into this as well. Because the full on is like, yeah, he fucking stole that on his way out. Like, Soken took that shit. And I like this idea now that the Sternritters knew Soken. Like, all of them know Soken Ishida. And we obviously find out next episode that he was also banished. Soken was banished from the kingdom. I love it. Give me more.
So good.
Soken needs to be in our
own
prequel series that happens when everybody's revolting against Yhwach. He needs to be part of it, not just the line.
He gets his own Can't Be Your Own World.
Oh, I'm down.
A light novel.
I'm down, Jose.
Be sick.
Yeah, so very sad they cut that out. Obviously, it can still be added later. Like, I could easily see them going back to that because Uryu still admits his plan is to take down, obviously, Yhwach and the Wahrwelt as a whole. So how would he plan on doing that? I can see them inserting it still later.
They want us to savor the anticipation of actually finding out what his method would be.
Yes.
Still cool. I had another note that obviously we got a lot of reorganizing the scenes. The scene of Ryukin operating on his wife that we will get next episode, we would have gotten by now in the manga.
Yeah.
That happens in the discussion with Jugram and Uryu. And then the Gerard, obviously, as we mentioned before, the fight is paced completely different because of the Shinji and Momo editions, which I think is good.
They were
and
good additions.
we get a lot of cool Gerard scenes in the next episode that we would not have normally got. So I'm very happy with it.
This episode was great, man.
I have actually a little bit of a side note. Do you guys have any things you want to talk about for episode 39?
Thought they were going to make Gerard CGI, kind of like what
A
they
lot
did
of
with
people did,
Pernita.
Jose. A lot of people were almost dreading the
Really?
adaptation of Gerard.
I thought the CG was fine. It was just like, it's whatever.
So he wasn't really CG. There was only really like a moment or two that I think he was a little CG. They helped with the camera movement.
It was like the camera movement then went straight to him, and then that's when he grabbed the thing.
I would like to think that after Pernita and everybody threw the world's biggest fit about like a couple of poorly CG things, they were like, okay, we're gonna move back from doing CG on characters. Like we'll just go back to doing the regular. Because I think let's take a moment to be positive here. Well, we're usually positive, but let's take a moment to be extra positive. Let's give a big thanks to Puro Films because I think they have done an incredible adaptation here with TYBW Cour 3. We all have our different opinions on Cour 2. Obviously, Cour 1, I think we pretty unanimously agree it's a great season.
Number one.
But I think for Cour 3 with Puro Films becoming a studio, the love and respect that they have shown to Bleach TYBW as a whole of referencing the source material and adapting it, I mean, as faithfully as you can with reorganizing things for the anime has been incredible. They have done such a good job week to week to week of maintaining this quality and the standard, and even the finale was really, really good. I cannot say thank you guys enough. I think it was incredible. And of course, if you guys are watching this with us, who've been hanging out with us all this time, thank you guys as well. It's been a great run. I think part 3 will go down as probably one of the greatest seasons of 1,000 Year Blood War. I think it easily should be anime of the year for 2024. I think without a doubt. And I think we have a lot of good Bleach stuff to come.
I think the only thing that could dethrone it is how good is Cour 4 going to be? I need to not think about it because it just gets me excited. I want it now.
But I also wanted to say too, like the music, all of it is
dude,
so good. Like even at the beginning with Jugram and Ishida, you just hear the what is it? I think it's just violins, just kind of like chirping, like something
even
ominous.
When they remix the old songs, they do a good fucking job. They do a really good
they've
job.
Been so good.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the guitar.
I'm not really a music aficionado by any means. Like we've talked about this a lot. Jose loves going to concerts. I typically do not give a fuck about concerts. I do not care. Not interested. Don't want to go. I am going to the Naruto Symphony though, coming up in April.
Is it sold out already?
I don't know. I bought my tickets though.
Okay,
I'm going.
I might.
I found this beautiful section where it's just 2 seats right next to each other. And that's where I'm sitting with my fiance. That was great.
Is that off the balcony?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I know which seats you're talking about.
So I'm gonna be sitting there, but I do like those. But typically concerts, I have very sensitive ears and they hurt my ears, so I do not like going to them. My fiance loves going to concerts. I could care less. I've heard the music on the computer. I could care less going to a concert.
No, I love being there with live music.
But if they ever did a Bleach Symphony, I'd be there fucking day 100%. 100%. That'd be incredible.
I'll put money. I don't give.
Have you seen the stuff from like when they're doing the Sonic Symphony and they play Escape to the City and everybody goes ape shit? Like I want that. Let's get the Bleach Symphony. They throw number 1 at the very end. Oh my god, I would love that so much. But to bring it back to my original point, I'm not a music aficionado, but I too thought the music was really fucking incredible. Even the music we got during Askin's portion at the very end of episode 40, I thought was fucking good. Really good.
It's just
it doesn't miss, man.
So tasteful. Like music really can change the tone of something so quickly. And with Bleach, it's been spot on from the very beginning of the show. Like all the way back to when we first got it in like what, 2006?
2005, 2006, yeah.
2005, 2006.
I'll still say the only thing that I hate is Ichigo's return because they used the wrong version of number 1.
Yeah, they fucked up.
Yeah, I agree. That's the one they dropped the ball on. But other than that, it's been fantastic.
And let's just say that maybe as non-native English speakers, they didn't realize that version was crap. And maybe it was somebody's son that got to sing that. I don't know. I'm just throwing baseless accusations out there because I don't know how you picked that over the original in that situation.
Was it one from the movie, Pythes?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, it was from Memories of Nobody.
Okay, I remember hearing it one time.
All I gotta say is yucky.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. It's Ichigo's return is a special scene. I think they wanted to use a special song, so they use a different version. And everybody except us seems to be okay with it. It's just us that are being crabby. Still hate it. I still hate it, but I can understand where they're coming from.
Like, as much as we glaze Bleach, this is like our biggest gripe. We're just like, ugh, this is the only one.
I just subscribe to the mind of if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Fair.
I agree with it, yeah. If you want to enhance it like you did like when we first got the Bleach trailer, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I think the new version that they've been playing also is so good.
It's so fucking good, dude. Oh, I have it on my like gym playlist.
Oh man, that helps you pump iron real hard, right?
Bro, I feel so cool when I'm doing that. I'm just in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's right.
So can we talk about how sick the guitar was when Gerard was giving his miracle speech?
Oh yeah, yes. Really good.
So good.
This shit's so
that's
good.
such a nice riff. Oh, so good.
I just feel like the way they're handling the guitars and stuff going forward is really good. And did you guys watch the teaser for Cour 4 that's already out, by the way?
I did. I saw
the very classical music that they use in that. I really hope that's the theme going forward for Cour 4 because that'd be really cool.
I would love that.
I did not watch it because I was like, it'll just make me feel bad because it's not here.
I think it's like a minute, right? Or something?
They did this for every Cour where it's like a 30-second CG trailer
it's
where all it shows is Ichigo's weapon. It shows nothing.
Well, speaking of Ichigo's weapon, we're going to get to see a really cool thing with one of Ichigo's weapons pretty soon.
True. All right, before we go to episode 40, let's take a moment, mid-episode break, everybody. Thank you guys. As I was saying, if you guys have not, please check out our Patreon. We'd appreciate any extra support that you guys can give. Patreon.com/WeebsGuild. Speaking of Patreon, we do have a question from one of our patrons that we're going to address here. But I do want to give a shout out, of course, to everybody who's already supporting us there. Thank you guys so much for your support on Patreon. And we have a third skilled captain level that is subscribed now.
Oh,
We are
really?
at 3 of 13 court. Should I cap it at 13? That would be cool, right?
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Let's cap it at 13.
Yeah.
We have 3 of our 13, and so we already knew John. We already knew PV. Thank you guys, OGs. And now we have, I'm going to try to pronounce his name. It is RXZAIX, Rizix.
Rizix? Ooh.
Oh, that's
I think
a cool
you would
name.
say Rizix, right?
That's
So,
cool.
thank you, Rizix, for joining the captain squad. We appreciate you guys. Now, this question is from Matilda, and Matilda wants to know, what captain do you think you can beat in a battle with your respective Bankais?
Oh,
And she says, please answer.
okay.
Oh,
Let me
shoot.
let me think. Soy Phone's too fast, so I'm counting her out. I'm not fast. I can't beat her.
I wouldn't be able to get a good look at her right away.
Okay. Komamura would go Bankai, and then I would just vaporize him with Excalibur.
That's perfect.
Now, if I want to throw someone into the ring that I don't think I would beat, I don't think I would beat Mayuri. I think Mayuri
Mayuri would fuck all of us
I think
up.
Mayuri would be too cool, calm, and calculated. Well, yours, Jose, would
Actually, I might
probably
be
be
able
a
to
pretty
suck him
good
up,
matchup
yeah.
for Mayuri because yours is kind of a one and done. He doesn't have much. Where mine, it's got its uses. You know, if we're specifically, let's go to the classic mustard gas. You know, I think he would be able to counteract that relatively quickly. Now, what are my other potential war crimes I could throw at him? We'd have to wait and see, but I think Mayuri would have pretty good counters because he's the master of war crimes already.
Yeah.
He's already got that under his belt.
So yeah, I think you'd have a good shot with.
I think that I would have a pretty good shot with someone that's very lawful. I think maybe Byakuya.
I was gonna say
I would have a pretty
Byakuya
good
would
shot.
be-
He is fast, which would be a little bit of an issue, but I think Byakuya is lawful and be too slow on the uptake. I don't think he would
Is
get it.
he slower than Soifon?
I would say Byakuya is probably faster than Soifon. What do you think, Pythes?
I don't know. Like Soy Phone is close to Yoruichi level, and Yoruichi is the Flash Master.
Yeah, I was going to put Byakuya underneath Yoruichi and then Soifon right underneath that, but I don't know if I assume they're interchangeable.
Because I was gonna say she was able to get caught by Baragon Respira.
Yeah, but
So
but
technically-
Respira just makes her slow down. She got hit because like she tried to kick Baragon, and that's when all her shit started to break.
But you could also, Byakuya competed against who claimed himself to be the fastest of the Espada, and he was competing
Oh,
against
that's
him.
Fair, but we don't know how because he could say he's the fastest and he actually be the slowest. Like no one's. So Mari could just be a liar.
Sam, I think would be able to take down.
I think I would take down most people. I think Komamura would be pretty easy if we're just going based off of mustard gas because he's pretty stationary. I think when he's using the Bankai, he's not.
already, you can take out Ukitake. Easily.
Oh, in a heartbeat. That guy's already gasping for air. That'd be the easiest job of my fucking life.
Gasping for air, and then you bring out the child soldiers, and he's not going to shoot the child soldiers.
I think in that similar regard, I'd probably take out Shunsui.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got that dog in him
doesn't
either.
have it in him to hurt them.
Yeah. Yamamoto would be a bit of an issue, but I do think we catch Yamamoto off guard. I would only be concerned about the heat with the mustard gas. I don't know how that would work, but
You would have to use something that would ignite and blow him up in it, like a nitrogen or something.
You'd have to make sure that like no strong breeze could blow the mustard gas back at you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's correct. That's correct.
Dude, if you fought Naruto characters, Tamari would be the worst.
Oh yeah. I forget the name. Aren't hollow point rounds like banned under the Geneva Convention? You can't use that.
Oh,
So,
you
like-
could just blow holes in people.
So like Sam could be the other guy with a gun that Shunsui has to fight.
Nice. Love it. I would take great joy in shooting out Shunsui's other eye. So
he
to
would
leave it
just
to
be
you
like,
guys.
"This is for Stark." Bam.
I was gonna say like Shunsui's on the ground. He's coughing due to the mustard gas, surrounded by chanting children, and Sam just writes "Stark" on a bullet and says the blanket squad sends their regards.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it.
And Jose, you could definitely send Mayuri to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think you would take Mayuri because it would be too quick. Like he wouldn't have a chance to recover
React to
and
it.
react because that's what Mayuri does.
I'd be
right?
more afraid of him coming back.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You would have to be concerned about that for sure. But I think in that
You know
time,
what,
Jose,
guys?
done.
That's how I got his respect and got my wife who's a hand in marriage.
There we go. That's the clap. That's how we got it.
Yeah, this is canon now. But then she died still. She go.
Does
boom.
she die, or do you suck Pernida into the Shadow Realm and save her?
That's how I do it, dude. An alternate timeline, you know?
Or you were waiting to elope with her, and you waited for when she was about to die, and you replaced her with another one really quick with a fake mannequin, and it exploded. So the brain that Mary has recovered is just some random fucking brain that you threw there, and you're really running away with.
It'd be hilarious
right
if I found Grimmy's brain. I'm like, hey, look at this. I'm gonna use this at some point.
Mary would be like, a win's a win, dog. A win's a win.
Oh my god! Could you imagine the things he creates with that?
Oh yeah.
And then that cancels out that bitch Tokinada's plan, so he's just all moan crying. I like this question. Who asked the question?
That was from Matilda, one of our patrons.
Shout out Matilda. That was a fun question.
Hey, thank you.
All right, are you guys ready to hop into episode 40?
I'm so excited, man.
The final episode of Bleach TYBW Part 3. Do we want to have a moment of silence with a salute?
I want to salute, and I want to say that I thought the episode... Hand? Yeah, left hand. I thought the episode didn't come out because it wouldn't load, so I had to reload my Hulu page like an animal.
And salute. Thank you.
Is that a tear I see in your eye, Sam?
Yeah. Episode 40, My Last Words. Ooh. We pick up literally where we left off as Ichigo and Uryu are staring each other down, and we see Chad and Orihime have also arrived to the scene, and Jugram walks towards them and he's like, looks like the cast is here. His fate is leaning in your favor, Ashita Uryu. Now prove yourself. If you're not a traitor, then prove it by killing them right here, right now. I know what you're going to say. I can foresee it, Ashita Uryu, as Jugram looks up with his 3 irises, and Ichigo notices it at this point. He's like, oh, what's with his eyes? Like, it looks just like Yhwach's. Uryu wastes no time and goes full standing here and shoots an arrow at Ichigo, who just slashes it away, which Ichigo is cold as shit in this whole interaction. Like, he's so quick. He slashes the arrow away, jumps at Uryu, clashing his sword with Uryu's bow. And Ichigo's like, why are you doing this? Fighting us, as he says? Is that really what you want? And Uryu pulls out a Steel Schneider and slashes at Ichigo, makes him jump away, and then begins to load it into his bow, aiming at Ichigo, and then we get the opening credits.
That was so cool.
Such a cool intro. It was so good.
Ichigo and Uryu here are fire, man. Which their fight has always been really good. Even the fight we got earlier this season has been really good.
I want to ask the resident Uryu hater, how do you feel about him now, Jose?
He's warming up.
Warming up?
He had a lot of good scenes this episode.
He's got a lot of cool stuff going on.
The backstory scenes we get this episode are really cool.
As long as you're... I just want to know if you're still in the hater camp.
Still hater camp.
Are you in the hater camp, or have you migrated to the dislike camp now? Because there's different levels to it.
I'm like at the entrance of the dislike camp. Okay. You know, they're checking my ID to see if
you packed your bags. You're starting to walk into the dislike camp. Will they allow you in there? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
fair.
So speaking of the backstory scenes we get, fucking spoilers in the advertiser section, huh? What
right
the
away.
fuck? Why would they show those scenes? Oh my god.
I was pointing at the screen going, what the fuck? He's in this episode?
Yup.
So we cut right after those spoilers. We cut to Soken, which I just immediately I saw Soken. I got so excited. I'm like, yes, Soken.
Backstory.
And he's writing in the very journal that we saw Uryu reading back in season 1. And he's narrating that Emperor Yhwach is not the savior of the Quincy's. And we see the time-old scene of Uryu under the bridge reading it and flipping through the pages. And we cut to the Ashwelin happening as Masaki is fighting Grand Fisher. And she goes to use Blue Vein, and we see it begin to fade away. And then we see Kid Uryu and a maid collapse, but not his mom. Which, by the way, did anybody else think the maid was Katagiri?
Same.
Because I thought the maid was Katagiri until I had to go back and I look at it like, oh, okay, that's not her.
Oh, yeah, that's not his mom.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's.
I thought that was her. Whoa. I was like, oh, okay, there goes Uryu's mom. Then I was like, wait a damn second. It's like, it doesn't make any sense that some rando, like she's holding the umbrella for somebody else. Which this leads to a lot of questions, by the way. So in that flashback, we see Kid Uryu, we see a maid, and we see Katagiri, which is Uryu's mother. Mm-hmm. The maid and Uryu are the ones that collapse to the ground after Ashwelin is used, not Uryu's mother. So this sets up a lot of things because the reason why Uryu is special is he survived the Ashwelin.
Yep.
And we see here that Uryu's mother is totally fine. And we had previously, haven't we previously heard that she died from the Ashwelin?
Yeah, she got sick from it.
Well, I think Soken said she was always kind of sickly. So I guess the Ashwelin just weakened her.
Well, this leads to she was not really affected at all. And we see her kind of run to go help out Uryu, where this is now leading to a lot of rumors of Mimi Hagi being in play here. A lot of rumors to somehow Uryu's mother gave her life for Uryu is how that worked out, because he was clearly affected here when previously we had believed that Uryu was not affected, and that's why he was special.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So it really opens the doors to a lot of questions that could be done here, because the next scene that we see is Kid Uryu kneeling in front of the grave of his mom.
Yeah.
So it leads to a lot of super interesting questions.
I also like that while he's doing that, you see Soken comforting him.
Yeah.
Because Ryukin is not. He clearly loves his son, but he's not the most emotionally available kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not the most warm and comforting.
He's not. So you're like, you always see that Uryu was really close with the grandpa and not his dad. And you're like, well, grandpa was there for him.
Well, Soken continues his narration at this point, and he says, to heal his wounds from the war 1,000 years ago, the tyrant Yhwach, which I love here, when he started the narration, it was the emperor Yhwach, and now it's the tyrant Yhwach. Used Ashwelin to take away the powers and lives of our Quincy brethren. Also, he could increase his power. I became convinced Yhwach will never forgive the world that has forsaken the Quincies. He will return to put an end to this loathsome world. And we see Uryu close the book and begin to walk away off to go meet who I would assume is Jugram. And Soken continues, as Quincies who live in the world of the living, we have a responsibility. When the time comes, we must stop him. On our honor as a Quincy, we must protect the world. We must protect the people we love. And we cut back immediately to Ichigo and Uryu fighting here, as Uryu has now activated his Slav Ray as well. And he is full on flying around now with his boots and his drone, shooting them all at Ichigo, which... it was a really fucking good scene. As he was like,
it was really cool.
It was fluid. They were jumping all around. We see Orihime and Chad like watching from the shadows. Like neither one of them are getting involved. Yeah. As like it's just going.
They're like,
shit.
This is a different level. We can't handle.
And now Uryu begins to think of himself, saying that this is why he approached Yhwach and demonstrated his power to elude the watchful eyes. And then we see, of course, the scene where he shot Renji. And he says, and now. And then we see Uryu at a standoff with Ichigo again, as Ichigo jumps into the air and does a Getsuga Tensho, cutting through the top part of the fucking Wahrwelt.
That was so. It was like
was
Tetris.
so crazy.
Makes it drop back down on itself like it's a fucking cartoon, which is so funny. And I immediately thought, Yhwach is probably sitting in his throne up there, and all of a sudden he just starts falling. It's just like, oh my god,
free fall for a split second.
Just for a split second, like woke. It would have been funny that woke him from his sleep and like it took the power back from Jugram for a second.
I'm really upset we didn't get like a comedic shot of the Bambies going, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, they're like, oh, hold on to the ground for a second, like, oh my god.
So I have thoughts about that shot of Uryu in the rain, and I want to know if you guys are with me on this.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, we don't see Uryu in the rain being emo in the manga. This is just an anime thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it kind of gives an explanation for the anime as to why he didn't just go tell Ichigo and the squad, because, like, he walks out after this revelation and then immediately runs into Jugram. So, like, all right, you make your decision right now.
True, but I also think it could have also been a passing of time, because it was daytime still when he was reading under the bridge.
Yeah, and it was dark by the time he got picked up.
Yeah, but it was also daytime, like, during the rain.
So it could still be passing, but I do like that, he got done reading and then Uryu turned the corner. It's like, oh, all right, yeah, let's do it.
I'm deciding to kill you.
Do you think Yhwach and the squad were watching on TV, rubbing their hands like, hey, he's reading the book. We almost got him.
Yeah.
What a loser.
I like to take a step further. Jugram is side-eyeing him from around the corner of the bridge, watching him like he's getting to the good part. Here we go.
That's right.
By the way, I feel so validated when he's like, I had to evade the watchful eye, and then it cuts to Lille Barro and his fight with Renji. I'm like, I knew he fought Renji so Lily wouldn't shoot him. I'm so excited for the scene of Chad doing a cool thing.
Oh, yeah. So the whole bunch of smoke shoots over everywhere, almost blinding Uryu because obviously a fucking building just collapsed onto itself. And Uryu shoots towards this glowing yellow spot that he believes to be Ichigo. And it's real that Ichigo left his short sword there glowing with his Reiatsu. And Ichigo appears behind Uryu, slashes at him. Of course, Uryu dodges. And Ichigo fucking recalls the short sword to his hand.
What a fucking
and they
badass.
both launch a blast at each other, which makes the ground under Ichigo begin to fall. But Chad, as if waiting for this moment his whole damn life, jumps, grabs the sword of Ichigo, throws Ichigo at Uryu. Ichigo grabs Uryu by the collar. Everybody falls down the hole.
It was so cool. I was like, damn.
I rewound to watch it again. So in the manga, he just grabs the sword so Ichigo doesn't fall, and then they all are caught by Orihime, and then they have their conversation. This is so much cooler. So you know how people gas up Orihime because she did the cool thing of opening the window so Ichigo could kick the Urankar out? I want people to gas up Chad because like Ichigo's not done yet, so he throws Ichigo at Uryu.
Dude, and that man, Ichigo's probably like 145, 150?
Oh, he gotta be heavier than that. He's thinking of the muscle on Ichigo. He's gotta be more than that.
175.
Yeah.
That plus the weight of his fucking swords.
Chad grabbed him, said, "Mama didn't raise no bitch," and then threw him back in there.
Just like that.
Fastball special, and like
Abuelo didn't raise no bitch.
He didn't crash into Uryu or nothing. He grabbed him by his fucking collar and dragged him down to the hole like, we are going to talk, motherfucker.
Yeah. It could have been his ear.
It was a great adaptation, like really, really, really good. I just cannot say enough how much I love the changes to that. And even in that scene, like what Python was saying, where they kind of all fall down, it's because Uryu shoots them down. Like Uryu had the upper hand in the manga constantly. Like it was just the way. But this one, Ichigo's like on X Games mode in the fucking anime. It's like, let's fucking do this thing.
Oh my god! But leaving the sword like that,
Yeah,
then calling it back,
Really
that's
cool.
my dream whenever I play Eldritch Knights. Like I'm just gonna, damn.
So I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of really good scenes this episode. The scene of Chad throwing Ichigo is my number one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's also like pretty high up there.
I don't agree with that. There's no way.
No, actually, no. You're right. There's one scene that's better.
Okay.
Is there the scene of Sam getting edged like crazy? They go to a certain house and no one's there.
That is one of the scenes. No, I seriously. Okay, we'll talk about that scene when we get there.
Let's keep going.
We cut to the Bambies entering Yhwach's throne room, and Bambi is it's Giselle is holding the head of one of the fucking almighty Soldat people and just like chucks it to the side, and Giselle's like, oh, he's sleeping, and Lil Toto's like, not our problem, as they all jump towards Yhwach with all their powers activated, and we cut away from that. We don't get to see how that ends until the end of the episode.
I was just happy it was there.
We go to Yoruichi now. Yoruichi is holding Yushiro as he is still fucked up. And he's like, she's in like a building, and Askin reappears and is like, man, gotta hand it to you, former Supreme Commander of the Stealth Force. You're pretty damn fast, but I'm pretty fast myself. And Yoruichi releases more lightning and flash steps behind Askin, goes to attack him. Askin then reappears behind her, and he's like, man, you don't listen, do you? And Yoruichi interrupts and completes sentence saying, oh, you're already immune, right? But then she uses her lightning to fucking flashbang him, and then's like, hey, if lightning doesn't work, I'm just gonna fucking melee combo you. As she hits him and then jumps on top of him and grabs him by like the thighs and flings him across the fucking area and runs back to Yushiro to go run away, which is smart moves. You know, you're immune to my reishi, you're immune to my lightning, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you.
So all the manga I was reading for this was volume 72. Maybe this scene happens later on and I forgot, but currently I'm just going to say this was all anime only.
Well, I also like that this is a good, I feel like it was almost an extension of the scenes where I can see this as they had a vision that they don't want Urahara to show up until Cour 4. And that happens very quickly in the manga. That is something that happens, right?
Almost right away.
So they wanted to kind of be like, okay, what is Yoruichi doing while all of these other things are happening? Yoruichi is obviously trying to save Yushiro. Yoruichi's trying to get away from Yushiro. She's trying to also bat away Askin, but Askin is this like unkillable, unstoppable force that keeps fucking coming at you like an annoying little wasp. And they're like, okay, this is what Yoruichi's doing the whole time. I think it was a great little extension and also a really cool scene for fucking Yoruichi again.
Shout out, Gabe.
So we go to Gerard now, and I love this. We got a first-person POV of him like wandering the Wahrwelt, and he's looking for them, and he can't find them anywhere. Very reminiscent of Attack on Titan, which is the buildings and this high-up POV we're getting.
I said the same fucking shit when I was watching it.
And so he picks up another piece of a tower and chucks it off into the distance, and then we cut to Momo, and I love this scene as well. Momo is like cowering next, and like, because what do you do? Like, she already got fucked up. They did a really strong attack. He's fine, and he's like wandering around picking up fucking buildings, and then we see Gerard's eye appear and look into the building, the window that she's in, and smashes it.
That's so kaiju.
Yeah,
it's so kaiju.
Gerard is like, I love this from Gerard because ditto. I would say this too. He's like, too easy. Like, is this all the 13 court guard squads can do against the miracle? And suddenly we hear a voice we haven't heard in a very long time reply, it is a miracle indeed, as a whip curves around and explodes in his face, and we see it's fucking Rose. Which is
I
crazy.
wrote down, God damn it, Sam was right.
Victory. Someone told me that, I guess from the leaks, we were reading the manga. He's like, Sam, there is something you predicted that happens in the next episodes. And I was like, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry, Pythes. You've been wrong and Sam was right.
It's a good day.
I was like, ain't no, because like I don't know the Japanese voices. I watch it dubbed, so I was like, who is this gonna be? Oh fucking god damn it!
You saw the whip and you're like, fuck.
Now, were you watching it and you were like, is Kensei gonna be there? Is Kensei gonna pull up?
That's
next?
the first thing I said. I was like, well, if he's here.
By the way, just for I'm mad that Sam was right. I like Rose. I'm not mad Rose is here. I'm mad Sam was right. He was so right. Fuck you.
So just a little refresher in case you guys are just now joining us. There was the scene of Mayuri and Kenpachi getting put into the pods. And if you guys didn't notice, behind those two sets of pods, there is two more sets of pods. And that is what prompted the question, did he bring Kensei and Rose up there? Because who are those two pods for? And now we know.
Now we know.
And just to let other people know, Kinsei and Rose do not fucking show up for the rest of the manga.
And which also led to this idea that I brought up because Masharo's not up there originally.
Mm-hmm. She was brought up there with everybody else, right?
She was not up here in the manga, period.
No, but like in the anime.
In the anime shows, yeah.
And now we get a scene that was fucking cool as shit, and I didn't expect to see ever.
So Rose continues on, and he says, "The fact you were unable to crush a wounded girl is nothing short of a miracle." And then we see Momo was saved by Shinji as he walks forward, and we see also Hiyori and Hachi were there. And Shinji says, "That's not what you call a miracle. If the 13 Court Guard Squads isn't enough for you, then the Visoreds will show you a real miracle." As we see Shinji take off his captain's cloak to reveal the full return of all of the Visoreds as they pop Hollow Mask.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It
and
was
it's
so cool.
Almost the exact same pose that they did when they first appeared.
Okay, now Pythes, we have disagreed on Shinji looks before.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the fucking coolest looks for Shinji.
Yeah.
Yup,
yeah.
100%. He looks so badass.
I will go down to 0 summoning for that in BBS.
It is so fucking cool with him holding. I saved the picture in my notes. So
yeah.
Now, someone pointed this out to me as we were watching it. You look at Mashiro here, right? Mashiro has hollow legs. Look at that.
Oh, that's weird. She didn't have that in the anime.
So in the 1,000-Year Blood War, when they're doing the scene, you can see Mashiro in the very back, right behind Rose and Kensei, of course. She has like her hollow legs that she had when she was turning into a hollow with eyes in. Very cool if they plan on actually using that. Of course, Hachi's there. Gotta shout out my boy Hachi. I fucking love Hachi.
His mask is really cool too.
Now, my only concern with this scene is obviously we know what happens in the manga. We know, I'm not even joking, in the manga, Hiyori and Hachi are all like sneaking around a building and they jump out to attack him. They just get swatted away. Just like bat and just like bat him away. I hope to all that is Kubo. That is not what happens right here, please.
I hope they have a really good showing and then Gerard just kind of like finally gets his footing and starts
But it's
attacking.
hard because like we were talking about before, right after this scene in the manga, where the Visors jump him, they get swatted away and then Hitsugaya shows up.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where Hitsugaya gets introduced, where Hitsugaya's like, okay, I'm just going to fucking freeze you to death. And that's where we get the introduction of him. They got to get to that scene, but they have so many episodes next Cour. Who knows what they're going to do? I hope they give the Visor something.
Currently at the pace of the volume is at volume 72, we are like there's a quarter left. We have like 2 1/4 volumes left of manga. So like there is so much room to expand this fight specifically.
Well, fingers crossed, because they're making a big claim that the Visors are going to show him a miracle. So I hope that to be the case.
So I hope you guys are both right that the Visors get a good showing. However, I would love it if Cour 4 starts and the first thing we see is all of them dead on the ground.
Damn.
We wouldn't love that, Pythes. We would not love that.
I would love it if it was just Hiyori. I don't like her at all.
Oh, that's right. Like she got stepped on.
Yeah, she's the only one that doesn't make it.
I hope that Rose and Kensei get a showing here out of everybody. They really
need one. Yeah, they need one.
Okay, you know that the one cool thing that Kensei did in the fight was he stops Masked Emasculine's foot with his own and says, "That's my fucking lieutenant." He needs to do that with Giant Gerard and flip him on his back and punch him in the
head. Yep, down. I agree. Let's do it.
I'm so happy they're wearing the masks, man.
What's like his Bankai is gonna react to whatever he needs, right? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, someone was telling me like, oh, they're using the mask now because Yamamoto outlawed it. Once again, we've talked about this a million times. That is nowhere in the canon material. That is just like an internet rumor that started a long time ago that pops up constantly. That is not mentioned anywhere.
Dude, I was reading that rumors back when this shit first came out in 2014. I think someone was saying that like, oh, they underestimated how fast Mask could like wipe him out.
Yeah, and I think that's the most logical explanation of what happened. They just got blindsided.
It's exhausting.
I mean, to go back to Mashiro having the legs, they did say she was the one who was the best at controlling her power.
And that'd be cool if we get to see it, especially because she's not even up there in the manga. It'd be really cool.
Didn't Kubo say that like they could do Resurrection if they trained for it?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, maybe.
So we cut to the fabled scene where I was very excited. We go to Yukio and Rukia. Now, I was not excited to see Yukio and Rukia. My original reaction was like, God damn, let's cut this scene already. And Rukia is pacing around, and Yukio's like, dog, I'm not going to go fucking help. And Rukia's like, I didn't even ask. I didn't say anything. And she's like, anyways, we're keeping our promise to Ichigo, right? And Yukio's like, well, yeah, I mean that too, but also we're headed down. And Ruka's like, what? And then it's revealed that they're at Kukaku's house of all
places,
things.
right?
I started
Yes.
I started pointing at the screen like, oh, this is for Sam, my boy. I'm so happy for you.
And then it cuts away to nothing. We just don't see it. Now, I have a serious question. I want you to spoil it for me if you remember. Did this happen in the manga? Why are they going back down there?
To get our uncle, who shows up with his bookmark and is in everything.
Okay, I didn't know if they were the one that transferred them because they left, right? Last we saw was Ginjo, Giriko, and Tsukushima. They fucked off somewhere. I kind of assumed that they would have found their own way up, but I guess they would come back and take the elevator up.
Yeah, well, I don't believe we ever cut back to Riruka and Yukio except for when they are bringing, Uncle Tsukushima, he taught me how to ride a bike, by the way, just letting you know. Like, he's always been there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we don't see them again until Tsukushima and the squad shows up. So this is just, hey, look, we're setting it up. Remember, we're edging.
Well, speaking of edging, now I have been waited the whole episode to talk about this.
I'm so excited.
We see a bunch of light raining down onto the dome of the Soul Society, like they're in the middle of a bombing, by the way, which is very cinematic.
It was so cool.
Would you consider that part of your bankai too?
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Carpet bombing innocent areas. I would claim that.
Yeah, Sam can do that. Easy.
And then we go into the Soul Societies. We see the Soul Reapers everywhere freaking out, trying to dodge all these explosions coming down. And we get the scene of Aizen that I was hoping, where he's just like, man, good grief. Like, what are they doing up there? And we cut to the classic when a golden bird reappears out of the rubble, and our poor Mr. Bullcut gets his head fucking blown off.
Damn.
Just eviscerated. And we see that there are multiple birds everywhere. And just then it begins to charge another blast as it gets cut in two, making a big explosion. And the other birds all stop and look towards him like, you killed him. And then we see this beautiful crescent moon as somebody is like, man, what a screechy bunch of birds. How annoying. You really make this new hole ache. As it zooms out from the hole, we see 3 metal bars, and it's revealed to be none other than Lieutenant Izuru Kira. And he is wearing a new fashion statement in the form of a missing chunk of his chest. And the birds are like, who are you? And Izuru, being edgy, responds, a dead man. And then we get to the mid-credit eye catcher. I think that is infinitely a worse adaptation than what we got in the manga.
Yeah.
I do not agree with the cuts that they made there. I do not agree with the stuff that they left on the table. I think that is so much worse than the scene we got in the manga.
I would rather they just not cut it and leave it for next season.
I agree with that 100%. I don't think they should have shoehorned it in there. It was very cinematic that it was done in dark and we saw the bombs exploding. But we don't get any explanation of Lille Barro. Like, if I was watching that for the first time and it's anime only, I would be so confused that if that is even Lille Barro. I'd be like, is that, like, offspring of his? Like, did he send, like, down little minions and the little minions are attacking? Because the only time he speaks is all of them together saying, like, who are you? And you killed him. They're talking like they're fucking, like, robots. Like, I would have no idea who minions. These birds are. And they don't explain that Lille Barro is also alive and lost his heavenly powers, and that he fucking hates Shunsui Kiraku. He wants to kill everybody in Soul Society to be an asshole to Shunsui Kiraku. Mm-hmm. All that got cut.
I guess the only thing I can say about it is, like, the golden light raining down on the shield of the Seirete looked really cool.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I just wish they gave it the time it deserved. I liked everything else in the episode. This, I thought, was a miss.
I feel like this goes back to the time old thing where people keep asking about Shuhei's Bankai. Mm-hmm. And I feel like so many people wanted to see this Izuru Kira scene adapted, and they're like, fuck it, we're gonna throw it in really quick. Just throw it in there, get it done, we'll cut it. We don't want to fill this much time, which is so weird because they could have, all it would have been is an extra minute. It's so weird that they did that, and then we got the 7 extra minutes on the end. Just like either don't adapt it or adapt the whole thing. Like, I don't know. I think this was the only scene that was done poorly, and it's like
go back to it.
I don't think they're gonna go back to it. I don't. I think we're going to cut back and it's going to be like in the manga where everything happens. Could they? I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to get a scene of what's happening on the ground in Soul Society. Someone mentioned that might be a good time for someone like Komamura to assist as well. Now that they're down there in the Soul Society as well to help with the disposal of Lille Barro would be cool. But man, what a miss.
Would be neat if there was maybe a scene of my uncle and his bookmark doing a thing before going up.
That'd be cool.
That'd be neat.
Pretty cool.
But like, this episode would have been like a 10 out of 10, but that was such a miss. It was really depressing because it's such a cool scene. that we wanted to see adapted.
Yeah. What about maybe this is a scene for Girko to do something?
That'd be cool. He just punches the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Turns into the Hulk again.
For all intents and purposes, he's super strong. He just met Kenpachi, which is I hate to see it. So that would be a good moment for him to show his strength.
Okay, so like just to cut in. So for Christmas, like I still don't have every volume of Bleach. So I got like two more volumes to add to the collection. One of them is like all the Soul Reapers fighting the Fullbrings, and I was just cracking up because there's a scene of like Ikaku is fighting the guy with the knuckles. He's fighting Mo, and Mo's like, "Stop flying! That's not fair. You're cheating." And Ikaku's just like, "I'm just standing here, man. Like we don't fly. It's fun. You gotta learn how to do it like that." Dude, it was cracking me up. I forgot how funny that arc was.
Yeah, it was really good. Well, because it was funny because they all just basically get clowned on in the end. Like that's I hate to see it.
The only one who put up kind of a good showing was like Genjo, and even Genjo just did not have a chance against Ichigo.
Yeah.
All right. After this, we get the mid-credit eye catchers. One is for the Ashwayland, which has a really cool drawing of Yuha Baha in a Soldat, and then the other is for the Seal Schneider. Again, no translations for it. If I find it, I will retweet it out. So make sure you guys follow us at the Weebs Guild.
I don't need to know what the fuck a Seal Schneider is. I'm very aware.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. I love that thing.
So we go back to Uryu and Ichigo at school as they're hanging out on the rooftop in a classic Japanese fashion. And Ichigo is basically he's like, shouldn't you be in a rich people school with smart kids since your dad's a doctor? And he's like, typically doctors' kids want to be doctors also. And you're just like, dude, your dad is a doctor also. And he's just like, nah, mine's just a guy with a beard. Like that's
I love that.
That's not it. And Uryu just sighs. He just doesn't even have time. But he says, I no longer wish to become a doctor. And he's just like, no longer? Like, why? And Uryu just kind of looks down. Ichigo picks up on the hint immediately. He's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. You don't have to tell me. And then we cut to a flashback. Oh, go ahead.
I love that Ichigo has that kind of emotional maturity.
Where he was able to read the room.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard ask for a shonen protagonist, I'm going to be honest.
Which I feel like also leads to maybe Ichigo not being as hard-headed as we think, as much as that he knows Uryu. He knows Uryu is up to something when he constantly keeps asking, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Where normally we see he would have dropped it. He wouldn't have really pushed it any further if he knew it was something that sincere to him. But he knows Uryu. He knows this is not what Uryu would normally do.
He knows his friends.
And that's why he keeps pushing it so hard.
And, like, there's a scene... I'm not even friends with this person anymore, but when the chapter came out back in the day... you remember when Ichigo was talking to Isshin and they're about to fight Aizen? And Isshin's like, aren't you going to ask me about your mom? And Ichigo's like, you know what? When you're ready to tell me when the time's right, you'll tell me, so I'll just leave it. And he was like, that's such an emotionally mature thing for Ichigo to do. And I'm like, so now I'm coming back to this going, oh, Ichigo's always been like this, huh? He's an interesting character.
Yeah, he's good. And I think that's kind of what sets him apart from a lot of the shonen protagonists that we have nowadays, where he is a very mature guy. And a lot of people kind of clown on Ichigo for not having a goal, per se. But I like that his goal is like, yo, I want to protect my friends. I want to be left the fuck alone. Yeah. I want to live a normal life and leave me alone.
He wants to have the power to make sure nothing can fuck with the people he likes, and he wants to play Tekken.
Yep. So we cut to a flashback now of Kid Uryu as he is peeking into a surgery operation that his dad is doing. And he says, right, if being a doctor means having to cut apart your wife, then I don't want to be one. As his dad looks back at him and kind of scowls at him, I would say. Yes. This scene was shown in its whole entirety in the manga form, and then I think it cuts back to Yugram and Uryu talking, and they kind of show it again for a brief second. They kind of a bit more heavy-handed in the manga, but I love this scene about how, with what we know of the Still Silver arrow, and we saw him messing with it previously in the anime as well, and now we're seeing this surgery happening where you can see as a kid where you'd be like, fuck my dad, he wasn't there comforting me at the grave, he immediately operated on his wife, my mom, fuck him. And you can see why it is what it is. It's really it's intense. It's a great scene, and also there are squishy sound effects happening as this is going on. Ick.
Nothing as gross as the weird finger platform my Yuri made, though.
True. Yeah, that takes the cake. That thing is
pretty gnarly, especially with the squishy sound it made.
Like from Uryu's point of view as a kid, you don't know that he's getting something really important. You're just like, well, why is Dad cutting Mom open? Is his obsession with medicine going that far? Is he just cutting her open because he wants to? And I imagine that's like the fracture. That's when they stopped talking to each other.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that, which is a very key point in all of Uryu's history as a person.
Yeah, and then he's like, all right, I'm just going to hang out with my grandpa then.
And we cut to the present now. Like present is Orihime, Ichigo, and Chad are all below with Uryu. And Ichigo is continuing to demand Uryu tell him why he is helping the Quincy's and why you're fighting us. Uryu's like, and what if I do tell you? And Ichigo's like, if the reason makes sense, I'll fight you or whatever you want and beat some sense to you. And he's like, well, what if it doesn't? I'll beat some sense into you. And he was like, dude, like, I'm going to get hit either way. He's like, what's wrong with you? Uryu then holds up a red pendant and explains that this is a sun key. It's used to it's issued to every Sternritter, and holding up to a metal plate called the Gate of the Sun allows you to travel to other gates around the Wahrwelt. 5 floors down, there's one that was used to invade the world of the living. Use that to return. I'm staying here to take down Yhwach in the Wahrwelt. And Ichigo's eyes kind of widen as he finally hears the plan of Uryu. And he walks forward, almost like reaching for the pendant, but instead grabs Uryu's jacket and is like, damn it, Ishida, why didn't you ask for help? This is not how we do things. You know, like normally we team up and we beat their ass. And Ishida, Uryu is like, dude, I knew you were going to say this, which is why I didn't. He says, you guys cannot defeat Yhwach. It is only something me, who inherited my master and mother's blood, can do. And Ichigo kind of pulls back at this moment and just like, Ishida, which, pause for a second. Once again, he still fucking hates his dad. He's like, I have inherited my master and my mother's blood, not my dad's blood. His dad's. Fuck that bitch.
Appreciate the consistent characterization.
Yeah. So Uryu continues and like pushes the pendant into Ichigo's chest. He says, I've thought this through. Hurry, take this before Wahrwelt catches on. And just then we hear steps coming from behind, and Yugrama's like, I don't understand. I thought I told you. I foresaw what you were going to say, Uryu Ishida. And Uryu tells Kurosaki to hurry to the gate. I'll hold him off here. And Ichigo, of course, he continues to argue. He's like, no, we should like take them together. Like, fuck that guy. And Yugram intervenes. It is once again, I thought I told you. I've already saw your answer. I destroyed the Gate of the Sun that leads to the world of the living. Let's end this Uryu Ishida before his majesty awakens, as Yugram begins to shoot off this black aura. And I like that the moment the black aura gets shot off, like Ichigo steps forward like he's ready to help beat Yugram's ass. He's like, all right, it's ready. Fucking go time. Let's beat him up. And Uryu kind of has like his blue lock piecing the puzzle together moment as he finally realizes and turns to Ichigo and he's like, you notice Yugram's eyes are the same as Yhwach's. When Yhwach is asleep, they're power swap. So right now, Yhwach does not possess the power of the Almighty. Yhwach is at the top level of the Wahrwelt. Hurry there, Kurosaki.
Let's go.
And Ichigo, of course, protests for a second, but and asks if Ishida's going to stay here. If he possesses Yhwach's powers, all the more reason we shouldn't. Uryu cuts him off and says, enough. It's not as if these are my final words. At the moment this is said, we see a smile go across Ichigo's face. Chad and Orihime show a smile as well, as they all have faith in fucking Uryu, and they run towards where Yhwach was. Uryu turns to look at Yugram and is like, you're not going to chase after them? Are you sure that's okay? And Yugram goes, again, I thought I told you. I've already foresaw the future. They will die. There's no need for me to chase him. Uryu then draws his bow and says, well, the future can be changed, right? And Yugram responds saying, you surprised me, Ishida Uryu. You're a different man from before, so filled with hope. And Uryu, without missing a damn beat, is like, well, the fact that you're surprised means that you didn't foresee me filled with hope, did you? And this immediately wipes the smirk off of Yugram's face. It makes him really mad.
That's so good.
And Uryu continues and says, looks like
really
that power is not almighty when it's with you. And Yugram unsheathes his sword as the two stare each other down, and we get the title card, Bleach number 40, My Last Words. But that is not where the episode ends, as we get more of Ichigo and the gang. Actually, we cut over to a coin being tossed into the air. As Ryukin states, I'm surprised that a passkey from decades ago still works. Ishida's like, you should be thankful to your old man's quick thinking to take that with him when he was banished. Ryukin is like, you know what? You're right. For the first time, I'm thankful to have a father with such sticky fingers. And Ishin is like, your son talks bad about you because you talk that way about your dad, right? And then we cut to Ichigo, Chad, and Orihime as we get our final scenes of the episode. They're all running up the stairs as we get a bunch of flashes of what other characters are doing, which I really liked. We see Toshiro and Rangiku reunited. We see Mayuri asleep in his water pod. We see Nanao and Shunsui still hanging out in their little sliver. We cut to Akon looking at Ukitake. We get a close-up of Ichigo's face as we cut to the throne room, and we see the Bambies are all defeated except for little Toto, who is barely standing. And she says, damn, I thought you were supposed to be asleep. Damn it, too bad. We couldn't kill you. As black begins to cover the entire throne room, and we zoom out, flying through the Wahrwelt all the way to the beginning of the end credits. And that is the end of the main episode, as it ends at 16 minutes and 24 seconds. And the total runtime, just for reference, is 23 minutes and 30 seconds. So we have, 7 minutes of extra content here, obviously including the ending.
Did you notice that while Mimi Hage disappeared, it formed like the ribbon over
Yeah,
Ukitake?
there was like a little thing that spiraled off of his back. I don't really know what that means. I don't know. Do you have any idea?
I've seen it used with like celestial like spirits or like kind of powerful beings.
Interesting.
At least in Japanese things,
okay.
like kind of like how Yoruichi has the lightning things that she uses.
Yeah,
I remember like NL uses something like that in One Piece. I know there's like that one demon from Demon Slayer that also uses a very similar thing. It could be a fashion statement or something like that, but it usually means something pretty like holy or at least powerful.
I've seen ribbons kind of like that, dude. It was really neat. I don't know what it means for Ukitake. He's going to hell. I can't believe that they cut to him again.
Right towards the end too.
Which, it just leads again. What is the game plan with Ukitake? What are we seeing him so many times for?
A very emotional goodbye.
It is like crazy that they keep showing him.
I don't think there's a shot in hell that'll happen, but I hope that there is a scene where he can still be conscious and talk and say goodbye to Rukia and Shinsui. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I hope for that.
Never gonna happen.
That'll hurt me.
Well, mark those words, Pythe. So far, you've been wrong entirely, so we might get that scene.
Dude, I've been wrong this entire time, and I'm loving it.
Hey, would it make you so mad if Sam's next prediction comes true?
What is his next prediction?
What's my next prediction?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So
okay.
Jose's just betting on my next prediction.
Yeah.
I like the odds, Jose.
You know what? Fair. Sam's gonna predict something, and I'm gonna say Sam, you're wrong, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Sam, make sure you predict something cool.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. I'll save it for just the right moment.
Okay.
When we're at Anime Expo and we're watching the trailer for it drop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sam's prediction will
I'll
happen.
swing for the fences. Yep.
Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that just happened that it was all sick. Let's go over it. I have one complaint about the Yugram scene.
Okay, go ahead.
It is nothing big. It is they cut that really cool panel from the manga where he's emerging from the darkness.
Oh,
you're
and
right.
He's half cloaked in shadow and he looks like Yhwach.
I actually pointed that scene out in the manga read about how that is one of the coolest fucking panels for Yugram.
It looks so cold.
That's one of the panels that I think Yugram looks the evilest in, which I feel like is really cool for Yugram as a whole because he's normally a very mild-mannered, monotone character, and we see him get the Almighty, and we see him emerge from the shadows, and he looks like a fucking asshole.
The entire time Uryu and Yugram were talking shit to each other was the coolest thing ever. Like the whole time you can see Uryu has been on the defensive in every conversation he's had, but this time he's like, okay, so you didn't see me fighting back. You didn't see me lose at all, huh? I have hope. Bitch. It was so good, dude. So I said I wanted them to hit Yhwach once, and I didn't get it, but in the manga, obviously we didn't have Minnie or Candy there. And also, Yhwach was completely awake, and it is after killing the rest of the Bambies that he then goes to sleep. Because, they moved that. So I'm like, you know what? I got the scene of them approaching him and then dying. That's more than I could have hoped for. I'm happy.
Yeah. We still got that same end scene, which I thought was very funny. With the Bambies still meet their same fate where they unfortunately get defeated off screen. But they got much more, feats leading up to it, let's say. They make their way to the top, which is good. And I think they make it to his giant throne room, which I feel like they've put so much more emphasis on in the anime, because before I think they literally they hop up on a balcony and they're like, we're here. And this one, they battled their way through the Colosseum.
They battle their way through the Colosseum. They reunite with the squad. They get literally more in the manga. They show up, they're on the ledge, and the next time you see them, they're dead. I got more than nothing, and I'm happy. Let's see, anything else? The shot of Ichigo running up the stairs was fucking fire. Just, hey, here's what everybody's doing. And of course, like everybody else, I lost my fucking mind when it zoomed out to the end credits.
Yeah,
I was just like, whoa.
I thought a very interesting spot for them to end, which, by the way, let me get it out of my notes here. We finished the actual episode in the middle of chapter 661. The scene of them running up the stairs is literally the title card from the manga for chapter 661. That is where it ends us, and that leaves us, counting 661, it leaves us with 26 chapters remaining for the rest of the manga to reach chapter 686. And that's obviously excluding the Hell Arc chapter. Also, right after where this ends, potential future spoilers, but it's worth talking about. They stopped right as they're running up the stairs. In the manga, they run up the stairs, and this is where Chad gets separated by the stone guardians that everybody fucking hates. So I'm really interested to see if they change that going forward into the Soldats that we were kind of hoping with, the Almighty Soldats.
That'd be interesting.
People hate the Stone Warriors.
I don't know why. They look cool.
If they change this,
they look neat.
They look a little bit like penises.
Oh yeah,
I'll just change the heads.
A lot of people don't like that's kind of the end for Chad, as we know, but I do like it as this scene in the manga. Chad comments on it because Ganju shows up. Ganju shows up as well. If they change it from Stone Warriors, it also lessens a little bit of Ganju because Ganju decides to stay and help Chad because Ganju's like, oh, you're fighting Stone? What a perfect place for the person who can make things into sand. You know, like he's like, this is my jam. Like
finally in his element.
Yeah, like I'm strong against these guys. And then Chad asks Ganju, like, how are you with, like, doing the dirty work? You know, like, we're not going to do anything glorious. We are just simply going to clear the garbage for when Ichigo returns because, like, that's what they're doing. You know, they're, like, taking care of the fodder work. And that's something that Chad is like, I'm okay doing that. Like, I'm going to defeat all these people and make sure it's clear for Ichigo when he comes back, which is a great scene. It could be adapted to anything that's not the Stone Warriors, of course, but I find it interesting that they cut there and we're not going to see that until Cour 4. So we have no idea.
Oh man, what if we get a whole episode of Chad doing a cool fight?
That would be cool. Pretty sick. Give him some justice.
Sam, I need you to predict. No, I'm gonna pretend I didn't say it. Sam, predict that so I can disagree and be right.
I don't have any good prediction for that, so we'll leave it. We already talked about the Gerard stuff. With originally it was Hachi, Love, Lisa, and Hiyori, and that's literally it. After this chapter that we're on, 661, is literally God of Thunder 3, where we get the title card on Yoruichi's ass in the manga.
Ooh,
that is something that people are really hoping for in Cour 4. A lot of people have been fiending for it. Once again, people are also fiending for the God of Thunder pose, air quotes. That is a fan art. So we won't be getting that unless somebody goes ape shit, which would be crazy.
One of those animators know about it.
All the animators love Yoruichi, so there's a chance, man.
There is a small percent chance that will work. We already mentioned that the broadcast had a special opening and ending. We didn't get that for Hulu, which I hate to see it, but it's supposed to be releasing on YouTube coming up here. And do we want to go over the Askin stuff really quick? I could speed through it.
Yeah. Can we talk about the funky beat?
It was just funny.
The funky beat.
The song was awesome. Really fucking good. I had no problem with the song.
It's very Askin. It fits so well with him.
We were jamming. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the fucking coffee bit, but he's talking about how the latte is different from a cafe a latte, which we had previously learned and we've actually talked about already. That's something we already covered.
I laughed my ass off about that because I was like, didn't Sam work at a Starbucks? Sam, what are your opinions on his taste in coffee?
Yeah, it's right. It's right. Well, you'll find a lot of drinks which are really fucking stupid, but I work at a Starbucks. Like, let me see if I can remember. There is a latte and then there is a
cappuccino.
No, not a cappuccino, not a mocha, macchiato.
Oh, I love macchiatos.
There's a macchiato. A macchiato is just a latte made upside down. Like, that is fucking stupid. So, yeah, that's all kinds of drinks like that. But the most interesting thing that we got from the Quincy Daten, which was all of the names of the original Royal Guards, which I thought was really cool. And we found out the old man with the eye patch, his name is Johann Seidlitz. And then we find Hubert's full name, Hubert Alexander Kleik, which is a perfect last name for him, which also was the voice actor of Levi, by the way.
Oh, I thought I recognized the voice.
Yep. The big man that was dual-wielding axes, his name was Argola Lalau. And then, of course, the one that everyone wanted to know, the woman sniper was Nikita Deslok.
That's such a fucking cool name.
It's a great name, really good. And she looks really fucking cool as well. And then they showed us a big relationship chart, and I actually tweeted out on Twitter immediately. I was like, so, like, who's got the, translation for that chart? Because they didn't translate it. Like, how lazy? Sorry, but how lazy?
I was so fucking pissed. I wrote relationship chart, not translated, frowny face.
So I have the translations.
Ooh, okay.
Unfortunately, nothing of value really in that. I thought maybe like some of them were going to be dating, but it's really just talking about what they all think of each other.
Which I liked.
It's interesting. So like an example, I'll just read a couple. The old man with the eye patch thinks that Hubert is a good talent, but he's far too green. And Hubert thinks that he's an annoying old man.
I like Nikita thinks that Hubert is a little shit.
Yep. And then Hubert thinks she's a lowly woman. So Hubert is just like this series Frieza through and through, calling people a monkey, calling people a lowly woman. He is that guy.
I forget the guy at the bottom, but I like that his bubble just says, I need to get my shit together.
It straight up does.
And I like also last one I read is that the old man with the eye patch thinks of the dual-wielding strong axe guy, that he has a fine character. And then the dual-wielding axe guy thinks of the old man, he's a good guy.
Good guy.
Like, that's pretty much it.
Dual-wielding guy thinks that every single one is a good guy except Hubert, who says he's troublesome and hard to deal with.
Yup.
Yeah. which I'm sure is the respect from everybody. Everybody fucking hates Hubert. So this is where we get Askin commenting, which he just confirms some fucking insane lore here. He says, these scary people all got eliminated by Soul Reapers thousands of years ago. So they're all dead.
Some Soul Reapers he doesn't even bother to mention.
Yeah, and he's like, they fought their own fearsome foes, but they were defeated by the Soul Reapers thousands of years ago. And then the rest of it is talking about how cringe Yoruichi was, how cringe all the Bambies are, and how he doesn't like any of them, pretending he's Bambi's voice, which was fucking funny, and then getting beat up by the Bambies because they're all pissed.
That's so good.
And then it ends with Askin, as I stated earlier, literally saying, well, I'm almost done filling the time the producer asked me to. I hate these. Man.
Really? I thought it was so good.
I think
they make me laugh, but I wanted something more.
They need to be cut at a minute and a half. Like I love the stuff from the old anime series. It's too long. And the animation was so clearly reused animation from the other stuff where I was like, man, they didn't even give me like a cool gin with a chalkboard slamming it up there.
I love those.
I love the voice acting. The voice acting was good, of course, because they nailed it. But man, I don't want another one of these for Core 4, please.
Negative Nancy Sam. I thought this was so much fun. I wanted one after every episode, just like the old Car encyclopedias.
I would take those in a lesser burst. If they took these 7 minutes, maybe this is the play in the future. They take these 7 minutes and they instead spread it against the episodes. Like you get a minute per episode.
I mean, the old Car encyclopedias was just like it's Gin pointing at a board and then it just shows reused animation from the episode explaining shit you already know. At least with this one, we learned some new stuff, and I got to watch the Bambies be made fun of.
Yeah, but then sometimes in the Gin one, the characters show up.
Yeah,
and you see Aizen show up, or then
talk.
Byakuya and Zomari are racing each other against the fucking desert.
Yep.
Like, you got some cool scenes.
We get to see Aizen not answer where the water for his tea comes from, and I'm still mad to this day. Where do you get the water from, Aizen? He says, do you really want to know? I'm like, and I say yes, and Gin said no, and then it ends. I'm like, no, but where'd you get the water from, though?
So
Aizen, answer me.
I think my complaint with this is it's too bulky. Like if they cut this down and if we could have got the information about those characters right after the previous episode, I'd be like, oh shit, that's cool. Okay, I like that. Which I still thought that moment was really cool. But then when we started going to the Bambies being cringe, I was like, all right, man, wrap it up.
Yeah, he kind of just dragged on a little bit, but it was still fun. I still did enjoy it.
I mean, they are cringe. Let's be honest.
I mean, most anime characters are cringe. Like that's just by default.
Remember, this is an anime where the main character has a cool skull mask, which is both the coolest thing ever and also incredibly cringe.
Well, with that puts us at the very end of the episode. That is everything in the episode covered there.
Damn.
That is all of Bleach TYBW Part 3.
That's fire.
Yeah, I thought as a whole, as previously mentioned, it was really fucking good. I did put out a call before we started for some hot takes on the season, potentially about what people thought in our YouTube comments. I got a few of them. I can read some of those off, talking about Core 3 and what they thought. I specifically asked them if they knew what they think about Core 3 compared to the previous cores.
Okay.
We have a comment from EKVIHANG. I'm not even trying to pronounce that. He says, Core 3 was the best so far, and it's not even recency bias. Every single episode impressed more than the last, barring the reunion episode.
Which one was the reunion episode?
I assume that is when Uryu and Ichigo reunite.
Yeah, I think so.
I like that one.
When they have their fight.
I thought it was good too. I don't know why we're hating on that one, but it was good.
The only episode I didn't really vibe with is episode 2, and even then I still think it was fire. It just wasn't my favorite.
But that would fall right into line with what he's saying, where each episode got better and better and better because it's episode 2.
It's still early on.
Got another one from Aaron France 25. He says Yoruichi stole the show every scene that she was in, which we all fucking agree with.
100%.
And she's gonna have plenty more for Core 4. Can't wait. He says, I'm curious if and how they'll put Gerard and Rangiku together because of the Soul King relationship, of course. And he is hoping as well. He says, I swear the Visoreds got to do some damage before getting washed in Core 4.
We all hope for that.
Additionally, he comments on the teaser for the final core, which we are going to talk about in a little bit, so I won't be reading that one. He says, glad that Lille Birds and Kira showed up and didn't rant like he did in the manga about Center. So he liked that wasn't in there.
They do bitch for a while in the manga, but I think it works out. Because I'd be fucking pissed if I got killed by Shunsui and a magic mirror sword.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'd be salty as shit. Be like, I have godly power.
Powers.
The only thing I lost to is a hidden sword he had this whole time for god powers. I have another one from Megan Maylite. He says, I'm a little sad we didn't get to see more of the Bambies in action before their defeat. Like, what happened to the weird soldat with the almighty eyes? What did Yhwach do to them that made them resurrected? Or no, what did Yhwach do to them that resulted in their defeat? Obviously, they were never going to come close to defeating him, but them getting off screen is a little sad. And then he continues on saying, I'd rank part 3 as just below part 2, but above part 1. Damn, so part 2 is his favorite season, and he puts part 1 at the bottom.
I'm going to be honest, I also put part 1 at the bottom.
Oh, fuck off. That's ridiculous.
Is it just because of all the fights we got in part 2?
I like seeing all the fights that I liked adapted. I know that they were rushed and should have had more time, but I still really like a lot of them.
You're really pissing me off.
Oh, no, Bambies. You're about to set him off.
Everything but the rain and the Sword is Me were cool. And the Yamamoto fight was like, Cour 1 was good, but like it's 1, 2, 3 for me.
Part 1 was a perfect season. It was a great adaptation. It had a great
fight. We did have Rukia's ass.
It had a great fight in the middle of it. It had a great backstory with everything but the rain. It had an actual ending. Okay? An actual ending. Love it. Part 2, dude, that was so disjointed and all over the place. Ridiculous to put that above part 1. I don't care where you fall on part 3, because I think part 3 was an incredible season, but
I thought after Yamamoto died, it was kind of boring.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Even as much as I liked it, I was like, okay, pick up the pace.
He has shonen brain, dude. He's got shonen brain.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is a shonen.
Yeah, I'm like, it is a shonen.
Yeah, you didn't like the slow parts where we learned about Ichigo's backstory. White being introduced, getting point blank shot by Masaki.
But I like part 1. I was just like, yeah, part 2 is stuff happening back to back to back. Then part 3 is just, oh, it's so good. I can't say anything else about part 3 other than it's good.
I 100% agree with the fact that it's really good.
What do we think about Megan Maylite wanting to see more of the Soldats and how he defeated the Bambies? Do we agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it would be cool.
I think we are like Bleach gluttons. We will take more of everything,
just
please.
Pretty much anything.
Just shovel it all into our mouths.
Just give us you could have given us Rukia booty.
Yeah.
What else were we denied? There was one other thing, right?
I understand because of censorship, but they didn't adapt the Omaida scene like I wanted, where he saved his sister.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I still like the version in the anime, but they just couldn't do it. You can't show a child getting impaled.
Another comment from Mallstriker448. They say the thing that they found hilarious is that Soifan has been spamming her Bankai throughout the entire war and has only landed it once. He says, why the hell did she jump in front of Gerard with it? Shoot it from a distance. Momo did better than her in the finale.
Yeah.
That is very true, which I guess is something that, I mean, I don't know. Every time we've seen her use it has been pretty point blank across the whole, except for maybe the first time she shot it at Bargon.
Yeah.
Why is she not shot it from fucking range? Like, she keeps getting so close.
She has the speed to get away and, like, get a clear shot.
I don't have an answer for our boy Mallstriker there. I think, well, you know, we kind of talked about Soifan right in the manga. We don't really ever see her again. So I'm sure they were like, you know, we have Byakuya getting batted away here. We can put another character in there that also gets batted away. Let's just throw Soifan in there. She'll hop in. She'll do her thing. And then it goes from there.
And you know what? To leech off the comment, the only time she hit her Bankai was when she got assistance from who? Our boy Omaida.
Following that with our boy Omaida, this comes from, I think, somebody who doesn't have a username. It's at user QC, whatever. He says, do you still believe in Robert's return? Serious question, by the way.
I mean, we answered it earlier.
I will answer that with, remember the fact that we own domains now. We own websites.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know with how invested we are.
Just random pictures of him.
Okay, now new idea for the website. Picture of Robert. We had flashing LED lights, and it's just blasting "I'm a Believer" as loud as it possibly can by Smash Bros. From Smash Bros.
Can one of them just be Goatsy?
No, it cannot be Goatsy. It needs to be specifically like the Donkey cover, where he's just going, "I believe."
Oh my god, yes,
as loud as possible. We'll go to all the other Bleach TYBW Blood War finale reactions, and we'll paste the link to robertdead.com, and then we'll just have everybody click it.
Someone's gonna click on it and be like, "I hate them."
No, one of them is gonna be the scene of like of Robert being vaporized with a big X over it, and it's just gonna be like, "I will survive. I will survive."
I don't know how good you guys' memory is, but do you guys have a favorite fight of the season now that the season's completely done?
I mean, besides the sick-ass Chad throwing, probably Renji.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going with Renji because it was just so clean. Mm-hmm. Just from the moment that he stepped on the arrow, I was like, ooh.
unexpected.
Yeah, it was a great surprise.
Who the fuck saw that coming? Not only that Renji was A, going to get a fight, but B, that it was going to be sick awesome.
He's still got a dub in my heart.
Yeah, and change everybody's perception of him.
I kind of like just to be a little different. I think the Renji fight's very good. I don't think we can throw any shade towards the Yuha Baha versus Ichigo fight where they're zipping around the Soul Palace and Ichigo's like slamming him into all of the plates, and then eventually they fight upside down on the bottom of where the Soul King is. Great scene.
That Dragon Ball
really,
Z
really
fight
good.
was sick.
I just think the Renji one by default is probably one of the best fights because it is a consistent fight all the way through.
Yeah.
And it was a longer fight. I think one of the longer, like, pure fights we've gotten through the whole series where they're just going at it the whole time. It's just, like, full on gas. Whereas with all the other ones, we're doing a lot of cutting. There's a lot of talking. I think about the Shunsu one, the Mayuri one. There's a lot of back and forth that's happening, which is why they're 2 episodes where we don't often get pure like action for that long, and that was something we got with Renji versus Uryu.
Yeah, it was great, and like once again, like I really liked the Ichigo versus Yuha fight, but it was just an episode that was a fight. That's why episode 2 is my least favorite, even though it was so good.
Now, speaking of, we've said best fight, which this could be a completely different answer. What is your favorite episode of the season?
We know it. It's episode 6 for me. Everybody's talking. Aizen's there. The Aizen Glaze episode. Is that the one where Shunsui gives a speech, or is that episode 7?
I think it's 6.
We got to see the return of what was his name? The guy with the tattoo that likes Renji. Rikichi. We got to see our boy
His name is
Maki got back. We got to see Afro guy. Like it's the return of the squad. We got to see Aizen Glaze, and Shunsui gave a cool speech. So like that episode had no fighting. I fucking loved it.
Jose, favorite episode?
That was my favorite episode. Pythes took my answer. I was
fair,
like, damn,
no, it's fair.
It's like I
Not
love
the
the fighting.
answer.
No, it makes me
That can't be
cry,
his favorite
dude.
episode. She got fucking roasted. She got combusted like a water balloon.
I will say the animation was on that fight was superb. She looked fantastic in her dying.
How did you
moments.
feel, Jose? How did you feel when she exploded and the sad music played?
My heart exploded too.
That
At the
day,
same
my
time.
heart exploded.
The minute they started playing the sad music, I'm like, I'm done.
As soon as they played that, I messaged Sam and said, "Dude, Jose is so fucked."
I was like, I'm done. I can't do this.
What about your Sam?
I said earlier in the episode, but Bambies versus Yugram I still think is the best episode of the season.
Yeah, that episode is so good.
I think that is probably the highest ranking episode for me. I think that hits all the notes, and I loved that so much. I thought it was really good. It was a very sad episode, which I thought was really good, and more so than I feel like with Renji versus Uryu. You know, Renji's gonna survive. Where in this one, Bambies fucking dead. like that. That is it.
He's just gone.
And it's like him killing his friend. It's a really poignant moment, and I love it. I think they nailed the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it was so sad. I was like, fuck.
And of course, the butchering of Bambies' family. I can't say again how much I love that scene.
Ooh,
Fucking his
that
mom
shit
just
was
got
rough, dude.
Sniped.
Shout outs to Basby's arm flying off after it cuts off and exploding a pillar.
Hey,
Yeah.
Some say it's still flying around.
All right, you guys want to answer a couple of Discord questions?
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
All right, so if you guys aren't aware, for every Bleach Boys episode, we do ask for some questions from the members of our Discord if they have anything about the series as a whole, about the episodes that we just watched. So if you guys wanted to join that, we have a great community growing in the Discord, especially now that Bleach TYBW is coming to an end. If you guys want to hang out with some like-minded folks, definitely check that out. Link is in the description. We have one from one of our boys, Quack, who is actually, I believe, the guild leader of Bount Boys right now on Bleach
I think they are.
And he says, will we see Hanataro Shikai? Which I don't think so.
Well, now that we know that he's in this episode, now that we know that he's up and around, he didn't disappear like in the manga, it is entirely possible we could see his Shikai healing someone just in the background.
And it does seem like they are doing a good job of adding scenes for characters that were previously forgotten, and Hanataro is one of those, and so is Rangiku. He also asked, so did Robert make it? But we've already talked about that one.
Yes,
and then he
did.
says, will Sam travel to Japan to show them how to animate a proper ending? Also, hi, Pythes and Jose. Fuck you, Sam.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, Quack?
He put a smiley face on the end of that one for you guys.
That was perfect.
In the React, we were talking about how for Cour 2 and Cour 3, they don't know how to fucking end the series, and they just that's it.
That's
like,
it. Hard cut.
Here's the end. Like, enjoy. And of course, they blended it a bit better this time because they went all the way to the ending, which was insane. But like, come on, man. Come on. Give me an ending. Like, give me something, a little something. I still think Ichigo's true Shikai breaking would have been an incredible moment to end for this season.
Oh, okay.
But I get it. It's fine. But yes, I would be willing, Puro Films, if you need somebody to come by and maybe watch the ending for Cour 4 before it releases, I would be happy to be a test audience for you, and I could give you my input on what I think of the ending as a whole.
Fly us to Japan.
Now, Pies, I have a question for you. We've never met in person before. If Puro Films reached out to the three of us and said, we want to fly you guys out to Japan so we can show you guys Bleach TYBW Cour 4, you in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, he paused for a second. He's going to say no.
All right. Next question from John. He says, what do you guys believe to be the best anime original moment and the biggest moment in Cour 3 was?
Can I just answer Renji again?
Yeah, you totally can. For both.
Yeah, because Renji has been a meme in the community for years. Everyone, us included, has shit on him because he just takes L after L after L. And after a single episode, everyone's like, oh, he's him. Oh, he's so cool. It's an episode where he loses again and we're like, no, he's the coolest character. So it's that one.
Jose?
It's not probably the most impactful to the show, but it's Little Nell talking to Daddy Akon.
Oh, that's so... Oh.
It just added an extra little bit of layer of sadness.
Little
to
Nemu.
It.
Jose, you threw me the fuck off.
What did I
said
say?
Nell.
Oh my God, sorry.
I was like, oh my God, what is Jose talking about?
No, I mean,
are you
Nemu.
switching waifus already?
I was confused.
He's already
flipping
through the brochure in his head of the other Bleach anime women that he could pick from.
It was very adorable, though.
But yeah, it was very cute.
Yeah, it was
just
cute.
the way he was answering a lot of the questions, and then the big smile on his
It's
face.
just more why we love Akon.
He's just so good. He's such a, he's the one that takes care of Nemu 8, Ichika, and what's his name, Koichi? No,
Kazui.
And he takes care of them. He's the daycare place.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Mayuri is father, Akon is dad.
I would say the biggest moment, and I would say this goes in line with kind of your reasoning with Renji versus Uryu. I obviously think the best anime original moment was probably Renji versus Uryu. I just think as a whole that was an incredible scene. It was very good. The biggest moment, though, and I think one of the things that people have been asking for a very long time, even if it doesn't pay off entirely well, the Visoreds using their hollow mask in the finale. I think that is
really
something that has been asked forever. That was constantly something that was brought up in the original invasion or the second invasion. Why didn't they use their hollow masks, especially after finding out that hollow power is poison? Why didn't they whip that out? And finally, we get this adaptation where they use it. They're all back together. They use it. They're all here. They're ready to go. It looks like we're having probably new abilities that are going to happen. Rose and Kensei have a chance to redeem themselves. That has been a long-running joke forever of how Rose and Kensei are dog shit. They got roasted. So I'm very, very excited to hopefully see them not do horribly.
Man, Shinji's new look is so good.
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
The minute he took off the captain cloak, I was like, damn, he's styling this time around.
Any final thoughts on these two episodes before we head over to the captain's meeting, you guys?
I'm so happy.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy with the way it kind of ended, especially with the whole Yhwach thing and then flipping into the ending. I was just like, that is clean. That is so clean. But all the extra little scenes we got, again, the Chad toss Ichigo thing.
I was pointing at the screen yelling the whole time.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Kensei there. But it was cool all the way around.
I'm happy with this entire core. I think they nailed almost everything.
I think that should be a unanimous feeling, is that whatever you take away from the season, you could have dislikes from individual episodes, maybe things that weren't adapted well, Izuru scene. But I think you can tell that they really put their heart and soul into most of the adaptation. They really loved Bleach as a series. So they did a great job. Kubo being on board clearly showed and helped a lot with this season. I loved it. I think it was an incredible adaptation of TYBW Cour 3. One last thing before we go. Bleach TYBW Part 4 already released a trailer, really like a teaser trailer, because it's like about 30 seconds, and it contains a spoiler and a half.
Massive spoiler, jeez.
Which is crazy. The teaser trailer, if you have not watched, I'll put it in the description. It shows Ichigo's two Zanpakutos, toes, and it shows them kind of like coming together against each other. And then all of a sudden it forms into Ichigo's true Shikai that we've not seen yet. Or I guess his true... the argument's out there for what the true Bankai really is. It turns into his true Bankai form as the giant longsword, and you see it fucking break in two in the trailer. I cannot believe they showed that. The season is called The Calamity for Part 4, and it plays the very classic musical, classical music that plays, which is a beautiful trailer, but holy shit.
What a spoiler, though.
That is so funny.
hilarious. And it is one of those things, again, like with Now Zanbakuto, the significance to you wouldn't know unless you already knew. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. It's crazy that they spoiled that. No release date for when it's coming out, not even a year for when we can expect to see Bleach TYBW Part 4 of the Calamity, but it is nice to know that they already have a trailer and they've already given us the name.
Okay, so hopefully next year.
Pretty sure it'll be next year, but
I think it'll be 2026.
You think it'll be 2026? So we're gonna go a whole year without Bleach?
I don't want to go a whole year without Bleach, bro.
Same, but I'd rather it be 100% beautifully done and not rushed than...
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sam will still find a way to complain about the jokey ending.
Okay, with that, though, you guys, we are going to head over to our Patreon exclusive content, which is the Bleach Boys Captains Meeting. We're not done with Bleach Boys just yet. I know the season is over. We will have at least one more episode with you guys. If you guys have any final questions talking about TYBW Part 3, you can either leave them if you're one of our Patreon members, leave them in a comment, and we'll give you guys priority. We'll make sure to answer your questions, or join our Discord. There is a channel in there for Bleach Boys questions, and we will answer as many as we possibly can as we come to the end of the year, which, by the way, Happy New Year. We won't see you guys before the end of the New Year. Thank you guys for riding with us in 2024. If you're new here, we appreciate your support as always. We will be back next week with another episode. We are going to hop over to the additional 15 minutes Patreon exclusive, where we're going to talk some more questions about Bleach TYBW Core 3. Retson wants to know what my toes smell like. We're going to talk about what changes we think should be made for Core 4, question about Ichigo's Bankai, and more. There's so much to talk about. We will see you guys next week for our wrap-up of TYBW Part 3, and we hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us. Have a great rest of the week, and Happy New Year. Bye, everybody.
Bye.